presentation of KUSI News and the Prep Pigskin Report.
Hey everybody, you're looking live at the Hive as Lincoln High School gets set to host Mater Dei in round 2 of our Saturday night special series. My name is Paul Rudy and I'm joined by Bo Furtag as we're going to try to bring you the very best in high school football coverage on a Saturday night. By now, you just got done watching the historic occasion here at KUSI TV as our first ever HBCU contest showed Florida A&M of the Rattlers stinging Albany State by a final score of 23-10. You saw a little bit of last night's PPR, and now we're getting ready to bring you this one. Oh, Bo, are you ready for a Donnybrook?
Paul, this is shaping up to be a good one. It's nice to see Lincoln finally get to play against a San Diego team. We're really going to see what they're all about.
Well, let's take a quick peek at Lincoln's schedule. They are 2-1, as you mentioned, with all out-of-state competition. They went up to Sacramento in week 1, convincing win. Tough one in week 2 against Bishop Albany, and then beat St. Bonaventure 27-24. That got a lot of people's attention.
And Roderick Robinson, 30 rushing attempts for over 300 yards and a few scores. He really put them ahead in that Lincoln game. On
the other side of the coin, when you bring up Roderick Robinson, all he's averaging is 13 yards. He's averaging first down every time he touches the ball. That's why he's the most highly recruited kid in San Diego County.
That's right. UCLA commit. He's going to have looking to have a great game here today. The mystery at quarterback, though, is KJ Chatham sounds like he's going to get the start, but Nico Ta'a started last week. So that's the big question mark. But Roderick Robinson, a man among boys, can separate from the tackles and can run through people.
When we first thought about this matchup, we did not factor Mater Dei being 0-3, but man, look at the schedule they played. Another murder as well with the Tough Loft, the Cathedral that you saw right here on KUSI, then the heartbreaker against Carlsbad. If not for a referee's call, then they might still be playing, and then Renbout and defeated Mater Dei. The story of this one is whether or not Trey Edwards is going to play. What do you say we go down to the field and get an update? I believe Bert Grossman is standing by. He has news on Mr. Edwards. Oh, Bert, can you hear us?
I can hear you, Paul. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Is Trey Edwards going to play in this ball game tonight?
Trey Edwards is suited up and slated to play. He's been warming up, testing the ankle out. He's definitely going to start tonight and definitely going to play. I guess the big question is, can he make it through the game?
Yeah, because last night we had him on. I asked him off camera, how does it feel? I said, is it 100%? He smiled. I said, is it 90%? He smiled. I got him down to about 75% when the smile came off his face. So I'm guessing he's at about 75% on that ankle that we saw him injure in week 1 against Cathedral Catholic.
Yeah, he's still, you can see a noticeable gimp when he walks. Trey's got an interesting gait, so it's kind of hard to tell. But he's still a little bit stiff, you can tell. And I think he's definitely going to go out there and play. He's definitely going to go out there and start. I think more as a leader. I think he wants to be out there in the field. It's one thing to lead these guys from the sideline. It's a whole different thing to be in there with them, and I think he wants to do that. So hopefully he can get through the game and not re-injure it.
All right, well, let's kick it over to Bree Savant and get the Lincoln perspective. Bree, can you hear us?
Thank you, Paul. Yes, I can hear you. I'm right here on the Lincoln sideline, feeling very welcomed. I'm actually joined by their O-line and DN coach, Daniel Smith. Daniel.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are we feeling tonight?
Feeling great, feeling confident, ready to have some fun.
We chatted before the game, and I kind of asked you what was like the main message that you were kind of wanting to give these athletes before tonight's matchup, and you had some really great words. Just share all that with us.
Oh, yeah, just basically, especially to my line, nothing to lose, more to gain. Here it is, we have a team that's had a hard time, and they have nothing to lose right now. We have way more to gain. We have to stay on top of our game. So let's respect them like we respect any other opponent and go out there and take it to them the right way with discipline.
Amazing. Talk to me about those impact players we should be looking out for. Charlie Hines, I know you have quite a list of key players. Who should we kind of be eyeing?
Of course, Charlie Hines, along with Roderick Robinson, 1-2 punch there. KJ and Charlie work well together. 2 quarterbacks on the field. Our receiving unit, they work really hard. The blocking is getting a lot better. I have a lot of sophomores on the line. My guards, my tackle, you can't lose. We're a 1-2 punch. We're ready to go. Defensively, very strong. Coach Bashif has really put those guys together really well. It's going to be a very exciting evening.
KJ's been dealing with an ankle injury. Will he be starting tonight?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. He couldn't miss this game for the world. He's been working really hard to get back to health and had a great practice this week, so we're ready to go.
Awesome. Anything you want to add? Anything you want to say about this work ethic of this team?
Oh, the work ethic is crazy. They really work each other. They push each other. They hold each other accountable. Like I said, we can't go wrong. 3 phases of the game, we're all in it. Special teams, defense, offensively, we're ready to go. Look at these guys. I'm so proud of them from our freshmen on up to our seniors. You can't ask for a better team.
Amazing, Coach Daniel. Thank you. The air is different, guys, today. We can see everything's about to get kicked off in a few minutes. Guys, Paul, I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, the Hive is buzzing as the crowd begins to arrive. There is Coach Dunn in his 12th season with the Hornets, coming off that last year's D1 loss to Helix in the playoffs. I think just talking to Coach Dunn and the couple times I've chatted this season, they know this is the year. Now, they've had other years. They've always been loaded at the skilled position. They've had some of the best skilled athletes come through San Diego. But this year, this might be the year where they have the best combination of skilled athletes and interior line play.
Well, we talked about Robinson, but I think they're really relying on their defense this year. Their 3-4 defense. They have those edge rushers and the big guys outside with Peavy and Chris Fuel, the SDSU commit, but the Hogs up front. 3 sophomores ranging from 250 pounds to 330 pounds, and they have the youth.
So suddenly now they're as big as the teams that used to be able to bully them a little bit when crunch time, if you will, in that 4-minute clock, when you want to eat up clock, they would get pushed back off the line of scrimmage. Now they're doing the pushing.
Right, and you also have Josiah Cox on the back end.
Who's the most recruited, highly recruited safety in the not the county, in the country. Well, I saw a chart where he's number one safety in the country.
He plays up at the line, and he can play back as well on that deep ball.
All right, those are names we're going to be talking about, but let's talk a little bit about Mater Dei, because as mentioned, they started the year as a preseason #1 in the county. All those star-studded players, but you know the thing you can never take into account are the injuries, and they've already lost 2 of their stud skill players, and Nico Mosley and Cruz Estrada. They're both done for the year. It's those kind of things that you really, because that's two options now that are off. Now they have 7 options, so they're down to 5, but still, that kind of, when it starts chipping away at your depth, that's what hurts.
Well, Coach Jordan will tell you next man up, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Anthony McMillan, the junior, has played a big part in this offense. He's the only offensive player that has scored in all 3 games, other than the quarterback, obviously, and Dominic Nankill. Nankill has impressed this year because the use of his legs. The dual threat quarterback, not only is he passing, but he's using his legs much more this year.
Yeah, if we have the Dom graphic, let's throw it up, because I'll tell you what, when we started talking about Mater Dei, we're thinking, okay, there are about 5 guys on this team that could be up for our Player of the Year Silver Pigskin consideration. But I've seen him play now. This will be the 3rd time where I've actually watched him wire to wire. And he is extending plays with his legs and his ability to escape pressure. He is single-handedly carrying this team right now. Why is there only New Mexico interested? New Mexico State. Man, I'm looking at this guy. I'm thinking, hey, he's a difference maker.
We did hear chirps from USD, so that is a possibility. And we've seen a lot of Toreros pick up some local high school talent. We saw Vance Jefferson with a couple of big plays.
And doing great, yeah.
Yeah. So Nankill, he's really answering all the questions. Can he use his legs and his arm? We've seen defenses really test him to show that, hey, we know you can throw the ball, but can you also run it? And he's shown that he could live up to the hype.
All right, we don't want to bump up against the national anthem, but if Bert has got anybody standing by, Bert, are you down there? Or okay, all right, so let's just continue. Let's talk about some of the names we're waiting for the game to start. Obviously, we're about a couple minutes out. Let's talk a little bit about some of the star-studded players that are going to be making impacts today, the names that we're going to be calling. Start on the Lincoln side.
Yeah, Lincoln, those edge rushers, Chris Fuel and David Peavy, they really set the edge, and they're going to make it difficult for Nankill here today. You mentioned Nankill is best when he's eluding the pressure and getting outside the pocket, but those 2 guys on the edge are going to make it difficult for him. And then those Hogs up front, Eugene Rice, Rashad Scott, Tala, all sophomores, like I said, ranging from 260 pounds to 330. So those guys clog the middle and allow those guys on the edge to get those rushes.
And let's not forget number 56, Charlie Hines, on the offensive side of the ball. I have it on good authority. He's already been inducted into the Shack Pigpen, recognizing the top interior lineman in the county. That just hasn't hit the airwaves yet, but I'm told his induction is already confirmed. On Mater Dei side of the ball, tell us about who we're going to be talking about.
Well, it's a good thing Trey Edwards is going to be playing today, because they're definitely going to need him Isaiah Buxton has a lot of offers going his way. He's only a junior. Chris Snyder was injured last week. It's good to see him back in the lineup. And DJ Overstreet has been going both ways for Mater Dei because of their injuries. So Overstreet is a guy that has definitely made an impact that you didn't necessarily think he was going to be that guy, but because of the guys that have been injured, he's been that guy for Mater Dei here this year.
And we should mention, last night on the Prep Pigskin Report, we were fortunate enough to have both Trey Edwards and Roderick Robinson in studio, sitting inches apart, talking about tonight's contest. Trey was playing at Coy. He did not want to say that he was going to play for sure, but we asked about which way is the pile going to move if those two meet in the hole. Roderick with the ball and Trey trying to stop him. And you know what? As we get ready for the kickoff, we're going to find out.
Well, we mentioned before the game, it kind of reminded me of the Bo Jackson Boz, the Monday Night Football, Raiders versus Seattle Seahawks. Who's going to win? They met at the goal line. Bo Jackson had a great game that day with 3 touchdowns and made the best of that night. We will see here today.
All right, so folks, there you see it. Welcome to KUSI's Saturday Night Special. The game is underway. Take it away, Bo.
Yeah, and the pooch kick taken in at the 30 by the Hornets. And looks like Josiah Cox will get it up to the 40, and that's where the Hornets will start their first offensive drive.
All right, so do you set the tone early with Roderick? I guess that...
At this point, you stick to your bread and butter. Chatham, 34 pass attempts in 2 games. We only saw Ta'a last week only have 8 passing attempts. So it'll be interesting to see how healthy KJ Chatham is. We saw that first week. He played well, and then that second week didn't play in the second half, so that was a bit of a mystery. And then Ta'a really played that whole game against St. Bonaventure.
Well, look at this. They're coming out already with a very unique look. The box to the right, or excuse me, the box left.
This is just a stack formation at the bottom of your screen with Roderick Robinson. It looks like they have the numbers. They're going to motion 2 guys. At this point, it looks like the box is wide open. They're going to run this one. Robinson off the left side makes a nice cut and pummels forward and will move the chains as he gets into Mater Dei territory.
As mentioned, he's averaging 13 yards every time he touches the ball, and sure enough, that's a tone setter right there.
Well, you have size and speed, Paul, and that's such a unique combination when you talk about running backs at the high school level, and he provides both of that.
Okay, Lincoln likes to no huddle it, much like Mater Dei.
Yeah, they're just moving guys around. They're seeing what the defense is doing to see if they're in man or zone defense. But this is unique. We haven't seen Lincoln do this too often. And Roderick Robinson is lined up on the outside by himself. And they're going to go that way, the quick hitch route. Robinson with a nice move, gets by 2 defenders. And we talked about it pregame. Mater Dei is going to need to do a really good job of flying to the ball. They're going to need to get multiple hats on Robinson. Robinson already with the first 2 touches for Lincoln. He had 30 touches last game. He had 25 plus touches the 2 games before that. So he's going to be getting a lot of work here today.
Jason Carter's offense certainly very creative as we get started here.
Yeah, 2nd and 2, another touch by Robinson. And he shot out of a cannon. 20-10, he will not be caught. 3 plays. All by Robinson as he goes in for the Lincoln touchdown.
And that's just a case of our guy is bigger and faster than your guys. And they maneuvered. I think those 2 first plays that were setting up this play, and they found already a softness in the Mater Dei defense.
That was, you know, Mater Dei's hasn't been starting too well, especially that last week against Red Mountain. They fell down early. Being down 0-3 or having your record as 0-3, you want to get off to a hot start. This is not the way you want to start for Mater Dei.
All right.
As Matt Davila comes in for the extra point.
It's up. It's good. And Lincoln, just like that, jumps to a 7-0 lead.
It only took a minute. That's impressive by Lincoln. We're going to see right here. And they have 7. They have their 4-3 defense. And
nice trap block there.
Yeah, that was great blocking by the offensive line.
You talk about Adrian Gutierrez right there?
Michael Fields, Logan Moore, Gutierrez, Hardman. I mean, all those guys controlled the line of scrimmage right there.
The junior guard came over and trapped number 54 and set up that play.
So Roderick Robinson, 3 touches, 60 yards.
All right, so you might want to keep his name ready just in case we're doing a player of the game at the end of it. But you know what? Now it's up to Mater Dei to at least move the ball a little bit.
Well, they're going to have to control the clock.
Yeah.
Correct. to go 3 and out is going to be difficult on that defense right now. And with them scoring that quickly, I wouldn't be surprised if that offense stayed a little bit more aggressive here early in this contest. Let that one go out of bounds. Oh, no, he brought it in at the 10-yard line. That's Jerry McClure, gets up to the 30, and it'll be wrestled down near the 35, and that's where Mater Dei will take over for their first offensive possession.
And keep your eye on number 14, because if Dominic Nankill is going to have a good game, that means Jerry McClure is going to have a good game, because those two have a little radar love going as far as being a very, very popular connection. I think it's Jerry McClure is his favorite target.
McClure had his biggest game against Carlsbad in week 2. He had 3 receiving touchdowns and a couple big extra points, and really kept them in that game. 6'2", 195. He's tall, he's lengthy, and he could extend the field. He could separate, get on the other side of the secondary. So he really keeps the box open for that run game.
He's the furthest receiver at the top of your screen, and Dom's looking for him right away. Look at that.
And here's Jerome Roberts on the run, trying to get Nankill. Throws a nice strike to number 4. That is DJ Overstreet with the completion and a first down Mater Dei.
And that's all Nankill, man. That play, any other quarterback.
It was broken down.
Yeah, any other quarterback is sacked for a big loss, and he's so elusive. And I'll tell you what, he's a difference maker.
You know, right now, oh, there's Fuel. He's on the edge. And they brought Roberts right there on that last one. He's a middle linebacker, and McMillan gets cut down at the legs by number 20. Nice quarterback, Isaiah Bartolome. He's been getting a lot of work lately. He hadn't really been a starter for Lincoln, but he's been playing so well of late. Let's look at the impact players for Mater Dei. Saraz Buncombe heading to Kansas next fall. We already talked about Jerry McClure. Cruz Estrada is out for the season, and Dominic Nankill, the dual threat quarterback, you already seen what he could do with his legs and his arm on that first play. McMillan picked up a couple, brings up a 2nd and 6 at the Lincoln 47. McMillan. The RPO, and that ball sailed a little too high over McClure. Well, that was actually a great job by number 22, the safety, Hunter Wiggins, really stepped in front of that passing lane and made Dominic Nankill have to sell that pass. We talked about the safety, Josiah Cox. Next to him, Hunter Wiggins is another one of those guys. They're interchangeable. One will come to the line of scrimmage, the other one will cover deep, and vice versa. They really play well off each other.
All right, 3rd 6. They're changing the play. Everyone's looking at their watch, saying.
And this is the cat and mouse game, Lincoln to Mater Dei, because Lincoln knows they're going to check at the line. And a quick pass out to the flats by McMillan, and Jerome Roberts with a nice open field tackle pushes McMillan out of bounds, and that will bring up, it looks like a gain of 0. And let's look at the impact players for the Lincoln defense. We talked about Chris Fuel, the SDSU commit, and on the other side, David Peavy, Josiah Cox in that back end, and Chris White, the transfer from Francis Parker.
Keep your eye on Josiah. He's going to be in our podcast on Tuesday. But, man, the buzz around him continues to grow.
Yeah, when you're a free safety like that, you're either playing back in that secondary for the pass, or you're coming up to the line. It's not both, and Josiah Cox provides both of those. And the punt
is away.
And a beautiful punt sails through the back of the end zone, and Lincoln will get their 2nd offensive possession.
Let's take our first time out. We'll be right back.
This week on Good Morning San Diego, discover your purpose. Stedman Graham joins us with an update on the CAYS program helping young students.
Plus, iCrime with Elizabeth Vargas launches right here on KUSI. We talked to the famed journalist this week.
Roderick Robinson, that was a nice open field tackle
by Chris Snyder, the senior.
It's nice to see him back in the lineup after missing last week's game against Red Mountain.
Still 2nd and 5.
And a great job by that Mater Dei front.
As they swarm to the ball. I mean, that wasn't right on the carry, but I mean it has to be tackled by committee if you're going to stop Roderick Robinson.
Oh, no doubt about that.
But now they're going to hurry up, 3rd and 5. That funky formation.
Yeah, they got 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Robinson, the lone back in the backfield. Chatham is going to check at the line.
Jason Carter's calling the play from the line of scrimmage. Everybody's formation shifts to that more conventional.
Yeah, it looks like Mater Dei is going to stay in that zone defense. And they're only going to bring, they're bringing 6.
Movement.
Yeah, that offensive line saw Trey coming, and because of it, they got them to jump. Yeah, they're definitely going to need to put pressure on Chatham, especially because he has that soft ankle injury, or the soft tissue or ankle injury, however they're explaining it.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. Still going to be 3rd down.
Yeah, especially with the skill guys on the outside, you don't want to give Chatham too much time.
That actually works in Lincoln's favor, though, because Mater Dei doesn't have the option of declining the penalty now, so it's 3rd and 10. But I'll tell you what, 10 yards is not a problem for this Lincoln offense. There's not really many 3rd down situations where they can't conceivably be confident. All right, 3 receivers to the top of the screen. Here we go, 3rd and 10.
Spread formation. They're going to throw a quick slip screen and a great tackle. Was that Anthony Lopez? It was Anthony Lopez with a great open field tackle on Corey Thompson Jr. He had a very similar play Corey Thompson did last week, took that play to the house, and Anthony Lopez was all over that one. That was another big guy they were missing last week against Red Mountain, so he's implementing himself early in this game, bringing up a 4th and 10.
Well, if you're a Mater Dei fan, this has to be at least some sign of solace that, hey, okay, we stopped them. We have the ability to stop them. As they are now in 4th 10, they're putting in the shuttle of their Uncle Both are the Lincoln Hornets.
Davila with his heels at the 5-yard line of Lincoln. Special teams.
Big part of the game.
Was a big reason why Mater Dei fell early in that week 1. And a nice punt by Davila. This one will bounce at the 40.
Still.
And Mater Dei will start their 2nd offensive possession in plus territory.
Recovery Happens, how you can take part in an event bringing awareness to mental health disorders this week.
And we're back here with action 2nd and 10. After this play, we're going to go ahead and send it down to Bree Savant. McMillan out in the flats, runs out of real estate, but picked up a nice gain for Mater Dei. Bree, what are you seeing down there on the sidelines right now?
Blue, 11 blue. Hey, Bo. Yes, you know, actually kind of going to go beyond the X's and O's for a second. Right here on the Lincoln sidelines, I'm Tyree Robinson, former Lincoln standout. He's actually recent USFL champ. I kind of want to talk about the community. And if you guys have ever been around the Hive, been to Lincoln, know anyone related to Lincoln, the Hive community, know the bloodlines run deep. The support here, talk to Tyree because he loves his community.
All right, obviously we're having some problems with Bree's microphone. I think she's rubbing up against it a little bit. So Bree, we'll get back to you. But she's talking about Tyree Robinson and the business venture, Heavy Pockets, a community endeavor where a young businessman trying to make good in his hometown. I was the first customer in line at the debut of Heavy Pockets.
And Jerome Roberts crosses the line, and that will bring up a 2nd and 1 for Mater Dei.
So Tyree, I still wear the jacket with pride, and the no one.
By the defense, number 42. Still going to be second down.
It's been Anthony McMillan. It looks like this Lincoln secondary is playing back off the line. They're giving these receivers about 6 or 7 yards. And kind of what we saw in that Cathedral game, they're just making Mater Dei dump and get chunks under. And we'll see here on the 2nd and 1. Well, Mater Dei comes out with 3 receivers to the right. And McMillan gets blown up in the backfield. The ball was loose. But it looks like they called the play down.
Dead, but number 11 comes up and makes a big play there. David Peavy, who we're hoping is going to make his college commitment live on KUSI, shows you why everybody wants him at their college. He's going to be playing on Saturdays for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Both Peavy and Chris Fuel really fuel each other. And because of it, there's not one guy you can concentrate on. You really have to concentrate on both of them.
All right, let's turn to the sidelines. Everybody's going to get a new play call now. 4:53 to go in the first quarter.
They're keeping 3 receivers to the right of Nankill. McClure's one-on-one. A speed option. Nice move in the open field, but Fuel was there on the short side. Fuel didn't have to run very far to get to McMillan. We've seen Mater Dei run that a few times this season where they just run that speed option to get to the outside, but that's going to be very difficult this week against those edge rushers.
Mater Dei is used to being faster than everybody that they play. Even against Carlsbad and Cathedral, I still thought they had the foot speed edge. They don't have it tonight.
No, and that's the big difference between Division III and Division I is the size and speed. And Mater Dei has definitely experienced that here early in the season.
All right, big 4th down call. What do you do?
Yeah, this is a no-brainer. RPO. They're going to hand it off. McMillan.
I think he's got it.
He keeps his feet moving, but the Hive swarm to the ball. We'll check the spot.
Where's
but it looks like he's going to be short. Jerome Roberts led the way, the middle linebacker for Lincoln. And a great stop by that front 7 of Lincoln. I was actually surprised they ran it right there, especially after getting stuffed. Look at that line of scrimmage.
I thought he had it there, but without the field camera, it's hard to tell.
And that was actually safety Hunter Wiggins, number 22, that came up and made that tackle. Jerome Roberts took on the block and freed up Wiggins to make that great tackle in the backfield.
All right, so Lincoln takes over on downs, 1st and 10 from their own 28.
This is Robinson, and a great job. Trey Edwards sniffed that one out, and his first TFL of the day.
We talked about that last night. What would happen if they met?
Well, and
score 1 for the Crusader.
The big thing in that run was he didn't allow Robinson to get his feet moving forward. He kept him moving lateral, and you want to keep a big body like Robinson from going downhill, and you just have to meet him at the line of scrimmage or behind, and that's exactly what Trey Edwards did for a loss of 3.
2nd and 13 from their own 23.
2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right, a slant over the middle, thrown behind the intended receiver, and a great job by Chris Snyder as he was right there.
Lincoln getting away a little bit. Well, from that first series, it looked like a hot knife through butter, but now Mater Dei is settling in a little bit on defense. And I think these 3rd and long situations obviously favor the defense and an offense that maybe is a little more run-oriented.
That's correct, Paul. There's no doubt about that. 3rd and 13, these defensive ends are going to pin their ears back.
They're going to come
and go right after the quarterback in a spread formation, empty backfield, and they're going for it all.
Is there a flag? No flag?
Nope.
Mater Dei's going to get the ball back.
Yeah, nice coverage on the outside right there by Mater Dei. That was number 23, Paulo Arande, and that's another guy that's been getting a lot of extra work in that secondary. The defensive back doing a great job in squeezing his receiver to the outside and not allowing him any room over the top.
So with 3:52 to go in the first quarter, the total yard situation, Lincoln has an edge, but not, after that first series, we thought this was going to be one of those 3 yards to every one for Mater Dei, but it's 74 to 56 total yards. So the game is competitive now.
Yeah, and DJ Overstreet back to return the kick. Davila can kick the ball so far, he can sometimes out-kick his coverage. And Davila gets it off cleanly. Nice high punt. And this one will roll.
Favorable roll for Lincoln.
To the modern day 40, and that's where the Crusaders will take over on their third offensive possession.
Well, what didn't look good was what just happened to Mater Dei. They went to the well once too often on that quick slant in.
Joshua Carroll.
All over it. He was waiting for it. It was like he was in the offensive huddle. And now Lincoln's taken over, and yes, here comes Roderick.
The bread and butter slips that tackle and gets knocked out of bounds inside the 25. Yeah, if you're going to tackle Robinson in open field, you have to get him low. And you saw Chris Snyder just try to tackle him a little too high. You have to get Robinson at the legs if you're going to bring him down one-on-one.
That's just a devastating turnover if you're Mater Dei.
It's been one of their Achilles heels all season long, turnovers and special teams.
And I get it. They love that quick slant over the middle, but they've shown it a couple times. And when you tip your hand like that, somebody,
Robinson up the middle, a big collision. Vincent Friend holds on for dear life as Robinson gets inside the 20.
You could hear that in the parking lot. Jeez. Whoa.
You know, you talk about exciting running backs, Paul, and, you know, why do people watch the Prep Pixon Report? To watch exciting running backs like this. You think of the Dylan Baxters, the Reggie Bushes, the P.T. Gates, all those guys. Robinson is definitely in a class of his own with those guys. Stack formation on the far side. And this is Corey Thompson. He's going to take it himself.
You know, I was reading an article about how back in the day what colleges did offensively trickled its way down to the high school level. But now in the year 2022, it's actually working the other way, where what is being tried at the high school level eventually works this box formation of wide receivers. I saw it at the high school level before I started seeing it at the collegiate level, and it's just interesting how guys like Jason Carter and other, and we'll take a break.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's game is
And that was a big 4th down conversion right there by Robinson. He got hit at the line of scrimmage, but kept his feet moving. Looks like the spot is going to be close. They're going to bring out the chains.
Bring out the chains.
I wonder if the folks at UCLA are watching this game with any interest.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Hey, but just to go back to what I was saying before the break, Coaches Carter and Coach Verlaine Patofi over on the Mater Dei side, both the offensive coordinators, what they are doing now is influencing how some people are setting up their collegiate attacks. And it's interesting how, because the high school level is like a big laboratory. What works, what doesn't work, and then they take it up instead of working the other way around.
Well, you know, 10 or 20 years ago, the off-season for 7-on-7 football wasn't a thing. And now it's become a nationwide thing where recruiters are actually going out. Obviously, they want to see game film. You never know when a player is as good as he is unless you see game film. But because of the 7-on-7, these big tournaments in Vegas, and we also have some big tournaments here in the state of California, it's really opened up the floodgates, and Mater Dei gets a 4th down stop. A huge 4th down stop after getting denied on 4th and 1 on the offensive end.
How many times do you think Rod Robinson has been stopped on a 4th and short play in his high school career? You think that might be the first time?
I would say the percentages are very low.
Yeah, I mean, less than the fingers on his hand?
See, at the very least, Mater Dei is now backed up inside the 20, so now they have to go the full distance of the field. So I don't mind that 4th and 1 go, especially because Robinson had been running the ball so well.
Oh, I don't mean to question that. I think for Lincoln, 99 out of 100 times you probably make that play.
You stick with your bread and butter.
Yeah, absolutely. But Mater Dei is getting another new life after committing 2 first-quarter turnovers already.
And they're going to start this possession inside the 15. Nankiel, pressure off the edge. He goes the other way, has to switch directions to his throwing side, and finds DJ Overstreet and is brought down by Carroll at the 37. And we've seen 2 big plays from Nankiel, and they've been on the run.
I'm telling you, he single-handedly. It reminds me of like back when Barry Sanders was playing for the Lions. The offensive line for Detroit had to maybe block one guy and Barry would make the other 4 miss. It's the same deal here with the pass rush.
Well, you think about NFL quarterbacks, this pivot, often used by like Russell Wilson's, he saw that was closing down. Lincoln knows that he is so great at that pivot move, getting outside, and a nice completion to Jalen Hall gets across the 40. And he switched directions, so to be able to pivot, stop on a dime, and switch directions towards your throwing arm, just another beautiful play. Not too many quarterbacks in the county, let alone the state, can make that play like Nankiel.
And just like that, Mater Dei is out from the shadow of their own goalpost, approaching midfield with 1:03 left to play in the first quarter. 2nd and 7.
Trips at the top of the screen. They'll hand it off to McMillan, and a slew of Lincoln defenders, Chris Fuel leading the way right there, brings down McMillan for no gain.
You have to do that, even if it's just a couple yards gain or even if it's no gain. Mater Dei has to run the ball a little bit just to keep the Lincoln from not
hitting their ears back and just going right after the quarterback.
You can't become one-dimensional this early in the contest.
Big 3rd down right here with time winding down at the end of the first quarter. 3 receivers to the top of the screen. That's Jalen Hall, the single-side receiver at the bottom of your screen. He looks that way, the corner playing off, and they'll take that hitch route, and Hall gets inside Lincoln territory, and another 1st down Mater Dei.
And that should take us to the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, they'll stop the clock for the 1st down, but then they'll go ahead and continue it.
All right, we'll be right back with the second quarter, everybody.
Recovery Happens, how you can take part in an event bringing awareness to mental health disorders this week.
And thank you for staying with us here on KUSI. Lincoln up early 7-0 after that opening drive touchdown by Roderick Robinson.
Boy, I thought we might be in for a long night when on those 3 Roderick Robinson plays that led to the first score and only score of the contest. But Mater Dei is settled in. Actually, if you look at the stats, they have 4 first downs, the Lincolns too.
Nankiel is going to have to step up in the pocket, eludes a couple defenders, but Lincoln gets to him. That's Hunter Wiggins, the safety, along with Bartolome. And they're bringing the pressure right now. They're not going to allow Nankiel to sit in that pocket cleanly.
Well, I think the story of this game, as we look over at John Joyner on the far sidelines, is he's looking at a play like, okay, can anyone put a hat on anybody? Because right now it's Lincoln is winning the interior battle on both sides of the ball pretty decisively.
And that sack brings up a loss of 6 and a 2nd and 16. And a quick throw over the middle to McClure, and that goes through his hands. Nice defense by Chris White, the Francis Parker transfer. Was right on that one, didn't allow McClure to get any open space on the outside, and made contact as soon as that ball hit.
Let's look at it again with the hands.
Yeah, I mean, it hit his hands, but Chris White was right on that. That was a great defensive play right there by number 4.
All right.
Bringing up a 3rd and long.
And I'm going to just suspect that Lincoln's going to come hot and heavy right now.
They got 4 on the line.
And it's a track meet for the defensive line of Lincoln.
Yeah, and they have no bigs in right now. They're all athletic and have speed. Really to match with Nankiel. They bring 4. Nankiel pump fakes, will go for deep down the right sideline and picked off by Corey Thompson. He leads Lincoln with 2 interceptions, now make it 3.
Really in the scheme of things.
And you got to get this ball to the outside. The pressure definitely impacted Nankiel on that throw. Thompson Jr.
Almost as good as a punt, though.
Was there a flag? And right before we left you, we thought Corey Thompson Jr. had his 3rd interception of the season. But fortunately for Mater Dei, they caught a break with roughing the passer. But it looks like a Mater Dei penalty will send them backwards.
So if you're counting at home right now, Lincoln has been penalized 3 times for a total of 25 yards. One of them, of course, that drive-saving roughing the passer call that helped out Mater Dei. Mater Dei has been penalized just this once now for 10 yards.
Nankiel, the quick hit on the far side, and Jeremy McClure trying to do too much before catching the ball.
Well, you know, I credit just the Lincoln defense right there, because you know everything is happening so fast, and you know you have to catch the ball and move.
You have to speed yourself up a little bit.
And you get out of your comfort zone, and Jerry McClure has a very big comfort zone, so it speaks to Lincoln's defense and their ability to close on him to actually get him off his game a little bit there.
Nankiel 6 of 10 for 61 yards. 2nd and 20.
those numbers don't even speak to how good he's playing, though, as far as just keeping Mater Dei in the game right now.
What he's done, eluding pressure, does not show up in the box score. Exactly right. And we do have a timeout on the field. And it looks like the Lincoln defense is going to go ahead and call a timeout with 11:07 remaining in the second quarter. And thank you again, once again, for staying with us here on KUSI. Lincoln 7, Mater Dei 0, and the holding penalty has put Mater Dei behind the sticks, bringing up a 2nd and 20 at the Mater Dei 48.
2nd and long for the Crusaders.
So they all look to the sidelines for the play call from Coach Verlaine. Everybody checks their wristband, and then they're off they go.
3 receivers to the bottom of the screen. They're going to hand off McMillan up the gut. He has some room, and he bullies over a safety and gets inside the 25 for Mater Dei's best run of the night.
Let's look at it again. Was this an RPO, or was this run all the way?
No, it was definitely RPO because they had that bubble screen at the bottom of your screen. But McMillan, one of the top 5 bruising backs in the county. You talk about size and speed. The junior brings that, and he runs over another guy.
He makes the pile move. Again, but not to keep praising Nankill, but that RPO, you could see his eyes were focused downfield. He was reading one of the linebackers. He made the right decision, and McMillan made it pay off with the big run.
Valenzuela, the junior, with that last tackle on McMillan.
And another flag down.
Flag on the play. Regular play stands. It's going to be 2nd down.
Yep. Thank you for that clarification.
McMillan, before that last run, had 5 carries for 7 yards.
His average just went up a little bit.
Yeah, he now has 37 rushing yards on the night. 2 receivers to the left, to the right. McClure in motion. They'll hand it off to him. And it was blown up in the backfield. McClure makes the most of it. Makes something out of nothing. A great heads-up play by McClure right there.
And was that Corey Thompson on the tackle?
We're going to see right here. This was going to be a reverse, but Fuel blew it up in the backfield. And not only did Fuel blow it up in the backfield, but he still made the tackle. Yeah. What an engine for that outside linebacker.
I'll tell you what, number 77 for Lincoln, Journey Tala, he's a big boy.
6'4", 330 pounds.
Well, I want to know what Mom's grocery bill is, because I wouldn't want to block him.
He is the biggest player on the field.
Yeah.
And he's only a sophomore. McMillan, the lone back in the backfield. He'll get the handoff up the middle, and Peavy leads the way, along with Umantala. Yeah, he's not giving up too much room.
Jeez. I mean, when he lines up over his opposing tackle, he has like a 60 to 75 pound weight advantage.
Well, he can cover 2 gaps, which is not always easy.
He's a 3 and a 5 technique player.
Well, you think about guys like the Aaron Donalds, the guys that can just take on 2 or 3 guys that double team and still fight through, leaving it open for the backers to plug those holes. And it looks like we'll have the first time out by Mater Dei. And Ricky Osuna in for the 35-yard field goal.
Wide
no
left.
good.
All right, let's go down to Bert Grossman, who's covering the Mater Dei sideline. Bert.
Yes, Paul.
What do you think about that play,
You're
that
there.
call right there? Do you think they should have went for it on 4th down, or do you like the field goal attempt?
I like the field goal. You know, at this point, everybody talked about how great it's going to be with two offenses. You know, we have dream catchers, we have McCoskey, but it's really been a defensive battle. I mean, these two coaches on defense, Aaron Jones, especially in Mater Dei. I mean, you look at 2 turnovers against this offense and only have 7 points up is amazing.
And then talk about the trenches. What are you seeing out there on both sides of the ball?
You know, Mater Dei's a little smaller. Obviously, you can see that too. I think the thing you worry about is that they're going to get worn down in the second half. Can they keep this pace up with the size? They don't have the depth. They don't have the size. But, man, this has been something so far to watch. And watch, like I said, Aaron Jones has just put together what a game plan. I mean, just to even keep Roderick at 9 yards of carries a success. And he stopped him a few times and a lot of times.
Yeah.
Boy, he just fell forward for 7. Just one last question. What's your reaction of Robinson here tonight after watching him carry the ball a few times?
I think it's great. I mean, you could tell Mater Dei's, I mean, their whole scheme is to stop him, and you have to stop him. Whether you can stop him the whole game or not is a whole different story. I mean, you saw the first couple of plays, they don't know where to go, and now he's going to break free for one. But it's hard. I mean, you try to stop Mater Dei, and Nankiv's doing so many different things you cannot plan for or practice for. What do you do?
And you see that right there. They have to really stack that box and leave that open on the outside, the one-on-one coverage.
And that's where Lincoln is so darn dangerous, because you get so laser focus on Robinson, and they have too much talent on the perimeter, Lincoln does. You pick your medicine at this point.
Robinson keeps his balance. He's still up. The strength of Robinson and the balance to keep his feet moving and pick up another first down, moving the chains for Lincoln. That's impressive.
Unofficially, before that carry, 9 carries for 76 yards. He's going to break the century mark on this drive alone, it looks like. He's now up to 89 yards on 10 carries. With 8:11 to go in the half.
And Donald Reed in at running back for Lincoln. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. They will hand it off to Reed up the gut. Met at the line of scrimmage. And for a short gain of maybe 1, Trey Edwards led the way on that tackle.
Maybe a little thunder and lightning option there, where Rod is the thunder and go with the smaller, quicker guy in relief and get a little lightning in there.
Yeah, they're giving him a breather right now. Bert, if you're still there, I would love to hear your take on how Trey Edwards is looking with that bum ankle.
I think he's looked good. I mean, again, the problem is you have an ankle, it's different than a shoulder. You know, he's 3-4 weeks out. I mean, he hasn't conditioned, he hasn't done anything. So he's getting back in. He's made a lot of stops, you see. I think they shift a lot to try to get him out of the box like they are here to get inside. But he's been holding it. Again, look at this. 2 turnovers, and there's only 7 points on the board. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Right.
And Lincoln's not doing themselves any favors now with their 4th penalty of the contest.
No, they're not. But
False start. Number 50 on the offense. Still 2nd down.
That's crazy. That's so fucked up, bro.
All right, so that pushes Lincoln back a little bit with 7:22 to play. You know, you kind of look at body position and body language. Mater Dei is looking a little gassed at this point.
Well, their defense has been on the field a lot here through about a quarter and a half as Robinson checks back in for Lincoln.
While it's a dry night, it's a warm night still, warm and muggy in National City.
We have a stack formation at the bottom of the screen for Lincoln, and single formation with the corner pressing up on a receiver. Chatham likes, I think, that option. He comes back over the middle, and a beautiful grab. That's number 17, Aiden Billups. Billups had 3 receptions for 63 yards on the season.
DJ Overstreet saved the touchdown right there.
And a beautiful strike right there by Chatham, right in the letters. And Overstreet looks like he's getting up a little slow. I think that was probably the first good throw we've seen from Chatham. Really in rhythm, he looked good.
Stepped into it.
Yeah, nice pace on that football, and really exposed that secondary of Mater Dei.
All right, 1st and 10 in the red zone. Red zone opportunities as Lincoln comes back and gets over the ball with 6:36 to go in the first half.
This is the first red zone opportunity for Lincoln, as Roderick Robinson scored from outside the 20 on that first score. 2 receivers to the left of Chatham. Roderick Robinson in the hip pocket, off to the left. He'll get the handoff off the right side and falls forward inside the 10 to the 5.
As powerful as he is, he's a very patient runner. You know, he waits for the block, doesn't get worried if it's going to take a half beat.
Because he knows he has the speed. He knows he doesn't need to speed it up at any point in time. He could get to that next level when necessary. You think about those guys like the Le'Veon Bells. His size and stature are very similar. Spins off a tackle, keeps his feet moving inside the 5. The offensive line getting in on the action. Push him in the end zone, and another touchdown for Lincoln.
That's just a man against boys situation there. Wow. Very. Now you're seeing why every college in the country wants him to play for them on Saturdays.
And Robinson gets hit behind the line of scrimmage, spins off a tackle. Vincent Friend, the middle linebacker, can't bring him down, and the offensive line does the rest, pushing him in for a second touchdown for Roderick Robinson. 5:47 remaining in the second quarter, and Hornets with an early 13-0 lead.
Unofficially 12 carries, 103 yards for Robinson, and 2 scores.
He's averaging close to 170, and he can. Oh no, that's actually an extra point.
Yeah.
On a field goal, he could try to return that, but on an extra point, it is no good. Mater Dei going to have to overcome a 2-score deficit, as mentioned in that Week 3 loss against Red Mountain, losing 35-16. They were down early in that one and just were never able to get back into it. And it's going to come down to this offense to see if they could provide any points. They're really going to have to sustain a drive right here. That Mater Dei defense looking a little tired, as we heard from our field reporter, Bert Grossman.
Before we went to break, we saw that shot of Coach David Dunn, now in his 12th season with the Lincoln Hornets. And the number of players that Coach Dunn and Coach Carter have gotten
just impactful.
I felt was best described. I don't know if you saw one of their young men, Keyshawn Smith, at Miami. Mm-hmm. After the Miami game, had this to say about his coaching staff at high school.
I speak to them every day. Coach Dunn sends me positive messages. Me and Coach Carter is like my uncle. He's like my big brother uncle. He's like my role model. You know, he's been there and done it too. So is Coach Dunn. They kind of the reason why I'm here now. So I couldn't be here without them too. So I thank them a lot.
It's all about relationships at any level.
I can't think of a better testimony for the Lincoln coaching staff than a player of Keyshawn's ability and nature speaking to.
He had a touchdown today for Miami. And Nakil backpedaling, throws it to the near sideline.
But so was the defense.
Yeah.
Number 13 making a play there for Lincoln.
And Saraz Buncombe gets his first. Really, that's the first time we've seen him throw it to Buncombe up until this point. And just because his backpedaling, that was a great defensive effort there by Joshua Carroll.
Right there as the ball was on the money.
Carroll had that pick earlier in the game, and
it looks like there was a motion.
Well, that was on that first down.
Yeah, okay.
When we were in the break.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. All right, so 2nd and 15 for Mater Dei.
That's Buncombe in motion. He'll look that way. He gets flushed out to the right. Nankiel looking downfield. Hits Jerry McClure, has some space. Gets by the first tackler, and a swarm of Hornets get him down, but not before a big gain by number 14.
And you're seeing why everybody wants Jerry McClure, who's also in the Silver Pigskin Player of the Year conversation.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier on one of the podcasts. And McClure, in order to really get that Silver Pigskin podium, he has to account for more than 50% of receiving yards, more than 50% of passing touchdowns. And because Nankiel is that dual threat quarterback, he's really opening himself up as an option because he's not only getting the rushing yards, but he's getting the passing yards as well for this offense.
And I'll tell you, no one's
going to be a screen, and Lincoln all over that.
They fooled nobody.
Bartolome has been all over the field today. A great job by the cornerback. Undersized, but he's been around the ball. You kind of get like an Eric Weddle feel.
Yeah, I don't know that Isaiah's size and weight matters much. It's the heart. He likes to play football. He doesn't shy away from contact.
And that brings up a 2nd and 10. You know, you obviously see these screen calls because Lincoln is bringing the pressure as they bring 4 right here. Nankiel roll to his left. It looks like he will tuck and run. Gets inside Lincoln territory and will run out of bounds, chased by Josiah Cox. And that's the first time that Chris Fuel takes that inside, doesn't set that edge, and Nankiel takes advantage of it.
Nankiel with over 100 total yards of offense, over 90 passing and over 30 running.
It's crazy to think that he only had 100 rushing yards last year. That's because they were just so effective in the passing game.
And I'll tell you, nobody's been more on Dominic Nankiel than our Bert Grossman, who said last year, vehemently thought that he should be on the podium last year. And I'm starting to understand his argument a little bit better every time I see him play.
3 receivers now to the top of the screen. McMillan will go in motion. They'll kick it to him. Nice blocking downfield. Jerome Roberts tries to get to him and throws him out of bounds. That play set up right there is, all right, receivers, we know you like to catch the ball, but you have to block right now. And a good job by the receivers in not allowing those guys to get off the blocks, but Jerome Roberts just so fast, sideline to sideline. He's a middle linebacker, got out there and knocked McMillan out for a gain of 6.
You almost feel like Mater Dei has to come away with some points here.
Just to keep the momentum.
For this game to be interesting in the second half.
And the quick hitch on the far side, brought in, gets by, that's DJ Overstreet, gets by the safety, 5, touchdown, Mater Dei. Chris White got beat on that one. DJ Overstreet took a 6-yard hitch,
but he got
and did the rest.
He got the celebration penalty afterwards, though.
Which I didn't see much of a celebration.
Well, we can watch it right here.
Great use of his hands. Gets by Cox. I mean, the spin of a ball. Gosh, and the thing that gets me is he's going back towards his sideline. If he's facing Lincoln.
I get it, but the rule's the rule, and you're not allowed to twirl the ball. All that stuff is taken out of it.
The ball slipped out of my hand wrong, Paul. I did not spin it right there.
It just spun like a top by accident.
Come on, I'm on your side, DJ. That ball just came out of your hands.
I don't like the rule, but I agree with the call. I mean, it is what it is.
Have a touchdown. After the touchdown, we've got a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct against White. The touchdown will stand, and we will enforce the 15-yard penalty on the kickoff.
Touchdown by DJ Overstreet. And you talk about receivers using their hands. DJ Overstreet caught that ball with his hands. If you catch that ball with your body, it's much more difficult to make that move and get by that cornerback, but because he used his hands, he was able to allow his footwork to do the rest. But a much-needed score for Mater Dei as they cut this deficit to 1 score. That's Osuna on the extra point. It's good, and Mater Dei only chasing 6 with 5:18 remaining in the second quarter. And with 5:18 remaining in the first half, Lincoln up 13-7. Let's go ahead and set it down to our field reporter, Bree Savant.
Thank you so much, Bo. Yes, Lincoln about to show out on their offense. As we saw Rod Robinson, you know, I actually talked to Rod before the game. He told me he was very calm, very focused. He said they're not trying to look at it like it's the best game of the season. They're just trying to take it at one play at a time, one game at a time. And they really want to make sure that they're all on the same page, he was telling me. He also mentioned they have a lot of weapons, a lot of versatility, and, you know, it's funny, I was talking to Coach Carter also before the game, and he said they're really trying to get the ball in everyone's hands, but of course we're going to see a heavy dose of Rod tonight, which we have seen, and that has been seen to be true. So, yeah, guys, we'll see what they're going to do right here on offense. Let's see what they do on this return right here.
Thank you very much.
I'll let that one go out of bounds. You got to have field awareness.
Oh, boy.
Well, I mean, I guess it would have brought it to the same point of the field anyways because it was a pooch kick. And that's exactly what the players were telling Joshua Carroll right there. But nonetheless.
Still, that penalty shortens the field and makes Lincoln's chance to regain the momentum a little bit easier with 5:17 to play in the half. They're taking the ball over just shy of midfield with a rested offense and trips to the right. Make that the box to the right.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to come out in a stack formation. And this is all about the numbers game right here.
They'll shift out of this, it looks like.
Empty backfield. Roderick Robinson, the single-side receiver at the top of your screen. They're going to come to the bottom of your screen. Nice blocking downfield by the receivers. And Corey Thompson, so electric with the ball in his hands. He could take a 5-yard hitch to the house at any point in time. We saw that last week against St. Bonaventure. And look at this. They just had the numbers at the bottom of your screen.
They didn't shift out of it. Mater Dei was expecting them to shift back across the other side of the field. And Lincoln, one step ahead of him, Jason Carter with his offense.
And DJ Overstreet, after catching that touchdown, chased Thompson. And there's not too many guys that can keep up with Thompson. DJ Overstreet is one of those guys. They're going to come out with the same formation.
To the left side.
And now they're going to have Roderick Robinson. They're going to come back towards Corey Thompson. Nice ball on the outside shoulder. Threw the ball away from the defender. If that ball was thrown inside, it would have been knocked down. But a nice throw by Chad, the short side of the field, will bring up a 2nd and 1.
I think we're seeing all of Lincoln's playbook right now. They're not.
Chatham is looking really good to me right now.
Yes, very composed.
He's making all the throws in rhythm. He's making the reads. And that all starts with Coach Carter in that offense. Roderick Robinson back in the backfield, the lone back. 1st and 10 on the Lincoln 23. Trips to the top of your screen.
Motion across, then back the other way.
They'll hand it off to Robinson up the middle. Hesitates and will fall forward. Once again, you talked about that patience, Paul, of Robinson. Allows the blockers to get a helmet on another defender and another. That looked like a short gain, but a gain of 8.
The pile
falls forward, bringing up a 2nd and 2.
And I mean, you just feel for the Mater Dei defense.
And they're going to come right up to the line.
How do you stop that freight train?
Well, you got to stop him before it gets moving down the tracks, keeping him lateral, and that's exactly how you do it. Anthony Lopez, the few times we've seen them stop Roderick Robinson in the backfield was because he was moving lateral, not towards the line of scrimmage.
14 carries for over 103 yards. But even on plays like that, where it looks like you have him stopped for a yard loss or no gain, he still falls forward and picks up a couple. I mean, to me, he's now at 110 yards unofficially. This is our scoring, so we're doing the best we can. But he makes the pile move forward.
2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right, 6 in the box for Mater Dei, and they'll stuff that run at the line of scrimmage, led by Trey Edwards. And the Crusader defense holds on 3rd down. Will Lincoln come out for a field goal with Matt Davila, or will they go for it on 4th and 3?
I'm going to bet they go for it.
They did for it on 4th and 1 and got stopped. We'll see what they do as Coach Carter has something to think about. I wouldn't be surprised if they call a timeout to think about it a little bit longer, but it looks like Matt Davila is going to come on for the field goal.
Interesting. With Roderick Robinson 3 yards, I guess.
You know, I think this is showing respect for that Mater Dei defense right now. That's exactly what Coach Carter and that offense is saying, the way Mater Dei has stepped up with their backs against the wall. Matt Davila, this is a 34-yard field goal attempt. Yeah, and I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised at all.
I stick with my original.
Yeah.
Well, somebody on that Lincoln staff wanted to go for it, but whoever it was lost the argument with Coach Dunn because they are now going to line up for the short field goal attempt. I'm going to bet Coach Carter probably wanted to go for it.
The offensive mindset of Coach Carter, you know he's in Dunn's ear right now. I mean, you can see him at the bottom of your screen in the gray sweater with the green hat on. He's throwing his arms. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. He wanted another timeout.
Oh, they almost blocked it.
Almost blocked it. And the 34-yard field goal is good by Davila. Extends the lead 16-7. And why that's important is because now it's a 2-possession lead.
Right. But there's still 2:48 left to go. Are we taking another break?
I'd actually like to, if you're listening, me and Paul are a little surprised about that field goal attempt. What's your say on that?
And right next to Coach Carter, he called the field goal, he called the timeout just to think about it, and then he called the field goal again. So I think he's just playing a little mind games right now with Aaron Jones over at Mater Dei and just seeing what he can get going with him. It's really, you can tell these guys are friends, and it's a little chess match between the two in a rivalry. Both DCs and both offense coordinators at this point.
Yeah, and I think Brees Savant, when speaking to Robinson, he played it down a little bit. But I can guarantee you both sides had this game circled on their schedule.
Oh, without a doubt. They know each other so well. They share the airwaves. I mean, if you're not talking about Mater Dei, you're talking about Lincoln. If you're not talking about Lincoln, you're talking about Mater Dei. And these guys are, I mean, they're the stud Billy Goats. They're the bell cows of the San Diego high school football community. And yeah, there's some ego involved.
Well, whenever you're an athlete of that stature, it helps build the strength. And nice grab, nicely brought in by DJ Overstreet inside the 5, makes a move and gets to the 30-yard line. And that's where Mater Dei will start their next offensive possession, down 9. Yeah, look at this knuckleball.
Look at the athletic ability here.
The hands on that.
It's 12 inches off the ground.
Overstreet used on punt return and kickoff return, and we already saw his athletic ability on that touchdown for Mater Dei.
All right, well,
plenty of time. Yeah, plenty of time.
The clock's not the problem. If I'm Mater Dei, I'm more worried about the Lincoln pass rush, which has been on Dom since the opening kick. Oh, 1st and 5 now.
Gotta hold the water, and that looked like it was Rashad Scott.
Encroachment, number 52 on the defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
You know, you're the closest to the ball. How did you not see it? Well, when you have a rushing attack and a passing attack like Mater Dei, you try to hold the water and not jump off sides. 1st and 5. Nankill will look far side and thrown a little bit behind McClure and well defended by Chris White.
I think Dominic would like to have that one back. Still 2nd and 5 after the penalty.
Yeah.
With 2:37 to play in the first half, everybody.
And that's Rashad Hardman. He goes both ways. 6'2", 275-pound right tackle. And yeah, he's only a sophomore, by the way. We've talked about a lot of sophomores for Lincoln. They're going to be big for the next couple years in the trenches.
Yeah. And that's not even to count the next wave that's going to be coming through their system.
Nankill rolls right and is going to throw that one out of bounds, bringing up a 3rd and 5.
While we have a moment here, let's just big shout out to Lincoln Athletic Director David Fay and everybody there associated with the school that made this so easy for us to do with all their IT people and cooperation. We certainly appreciate the Lincoln hospitality. They've always been very good to KUSI, and once again, we very much appreciate your help in making this broadcast possible.
Well, the last thing Mater Dei wants to do is go 3 and out right here on this offensive possession and give Lincoln back the ball the way they've been moving the ball so easily. And one of the best cheerleading squads in all of the county, that's the Lincoln Hornets cheerleading squad right there, as you can take a look. 3rd and 5 right here at the 35. Nankill looks one way, goes the other. Nothing's open. He'll roll right. Just short of the first down.
Incomplete. It was really incomplete.
And Josiah Cox from the safety position.
Can we see that again? I want to see. Looked like he made the grab.
You see,
or did he step out of bounds?
You can't see Josiah Cox. He comes from the safety position all the way up.
He might have stepped out of bounds, I think.
That's the only thing I could think of, yes.
All right, well, so now we look at it from Jason Carter's perspective. 2:22, plenty of time for Lincoln to pad the first half margin.
Well, and that field goal attempt, well played by Coach Carter, because he got the points and now he's going to get their offense back on the field.
Get the ball back. This is the worst possible scenario for Mater Dei, but the Lincoln defense stepped up to the challenge.
I don't think Mater Dei will do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Lincoln just played a safe defense right here, knowing that they don't want to give the ball back to Lincoln with 2:22 remaining in the first half.
Corey Thompson back to receive. And we'll have another timeout.
Timeout. Jensen Meat is happy to be a proud sponsor of high school football, located locally in San Diego, where great taste meets integrity and where great brands sprout.
This is where real happens, where real energy is always flowing, and real thrills take you higher, where real adventure is always within reach, and real excitement is around every corner, like the Craft Beer Festival, when hops meets drops. With over 100 of your favorite local brews paired with savory dishes and live entertainment. Celebrate from day to night. Buy a 2023 Fun Card, get the rest of 2022 free. SeaWorld San Diego, real amazing.
Summer never stops when you landscape with Rock and Block Hardscape Supply.
From grass turf to fire pits, we have everything you need to make summer last just a little bit longer. Don't miss out on great deals at Rock and Block Hardscape Supply.
In El Cajon and Temecula.
Recovery Happens, how you can take part in an event bringing awareness to mental health disorders this week.
And that Lincoln defense playing big here in the first half. Let's go ahead and send it down to Bree Savant on the Lincoln sideline.
Hey, thanks, Bo. And yeah, I think Lincoln's defensive coordinator, Bashif Jones Jr., is not surprised that they held him to that 4th down. And it was Josiah Cox that actually made that last tackle that pushed it to that 4th down. And Coach Bashif told me that Josiah Cox is actually one of the biggest enforcers on their D squad. He said he actually sets the tone for their defense as soon as the ball hits that air. And, you know, it's really funny, too. Something else that Coach Bashif told me is, you know, we've seen games in the past that have lots of penalties, lots of yellow on the field. So he actually told me that this squad, their defense is so intense that sometimes they need to hold themselves a little back because sometimes these games get so filled with flags, obviously. But, you know, he told me, of course, always go for it, always play with your heart and soul. And we see also those key players, Chris Fuel and DJ Peavy. He told me that those edges are their bread and butter. And we've really been seeing that, and that's all been coming to fruition, guys. So we'll see what happens right here.
Trey Edwards.
Shoestring tackle.
Because that train was getting ready to leave the station. Still a 6-yard gain as the clock runs down to 1:55 to go in the first half.
And Lincoln, I believe, has 1 timeout remaining. I have them with 2 called timeouts. Spread formation. 138 and counting. Chatham will look downfield and has a wide open Corey Thompson Jr. at the 30. And Corey Thompson Jr. has shown the ability to take a 5-yard hitch to the house and get on the other side of the corners as he ran right past Arande.
And the success that they were having with the bubble screen on the perimeter set up that play. They faked the screen. You could see the Mater Dei secondary cheat up, and they got beat deep. And now here comes
back to Robinson. Keeps his feet moving. Lateral movement is some of the best we've seen this year. Gets in for another Lincoln touchdown.
A devastating sequence from Mater Dei as Lincoln is starting to assert itself. And we saw this play all last week. I believe this was in Carroll's corner, that exactly.
Cutting across field with the lateral movement.
Man, if we, Allison, if you can get that back in the studio, we'll show that at halftime. Pull up Carroll's corner because it was that play exactly.
Yeah, Robinson getting upfield now has 3 touchdowns on the night, giving Lincoln a 22-7 lead.
And the most sought-after blue chipper in San Diego County his stock is only going one way.
He now has 10 touchdowns on the season, Paul.
Yes, and his rushing total at halftime, unofficially, just by our statistician, Chase Isadora, 17 carries, 135 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's what, 18 fantasy points right there?
Let's see, 113. No, that's like 18 plus. That's like 31.
31 fantasy. I forgot the yardage.
Yeah. Alone, just with touchdowns, yes, 18. But fantasy point wise, you're looking good in your leagues right now.
And Mater Dei is staring down the barrel of an 0-4 start, so they have. I mean, normally I would say you just would take.
It's tough right here because you don't want to throw an interception right here. You don't want to force it.
I think it's largely going to depend on how what the field position is after this kick.
And they will get the ball to start the second half.
Boy, I wish we had time to edit together that touchdown run and the one that we saw last week through Brandon Stone's camera. They're virtually identical plays.
Right, and that's the one where Robinson started on the near side and just literally lateral movement after lateral movement cut all the way across the field. And this ball was kicked into the end zone, so no return.
So we now with the ball so deep in Mater Dei territory, I think you basically just try to run the clock out and limit your losses, limit the damage done.
No, you know,
but I don't know. It's
with how explosive this Mater Dei offense can be, I would not be surprised to see them come out passing. Bert, are you down there? What are you seeing?
Yes.
What are you feeling right now on the offensive end for Mater Dei?
You know, I know we all want to sit on it, but they're going to have to score. I mean, the big difference here is Lincoln has a pass rush. It's really taken away all of Mater Dei's playbook. I mean, everything's been Nankill the whole time. If he doesn't make it happen, it doesn't happen. Lincoln's not getting pressure, and they have their whole playbook open for them. So I think they do have to go for it. I mean, they can't chase points, but, I mean, you can't let this get away from you.
For a couple occasions, what Lincoln's defense, they have taken Jerry McClure out of the game.
Well, Chris White right there, he did get beat on that touchdown, but other than that, he's played exceptional coverage on that outside. And you saw right there, as soon as McClure got the ball, I mean, he was right there, step for step.
Boy, Peavy and Fuel look at each other and say, I'll meet you in the backfield.
1:19 remaining in the first half, 2nd and 10.
And that's the...
What, delay game? Did they take too long? They sure did.
5-yard penalty, still going to be 2nd down.
Well, here's what I was talking about, the reason why...
Yeah, no, you're spot on with what you were saying as we look at Robinson right now.
I mean, you run the risk because if I'm Lincoln and I get the ball back, I'm not going to. I'm going for it.
And Nankill steps up in the pocket, finds Roland George for his first reception of the night, stays in bounds, keeps the clock running, which is actually beneficial right now.
Yes, the last thing you want to do is go out.
Roland George stepped in for Nankill last year when he was injured at quarterback. We're now under a minute remaining, 3rd and 2 for the Crusaders.
Nankill unofficially 11 for 20, 137 yards passing, and another 18 on the ground.
They're going to go ahead and respot the ball.
All right, we'll wait on the ref to roll the clock.
3 receivers to the left of Nankill along with Anthony McMillan. 3rd and 2 at the 30. They're going to hand it off to McMillan, and he's stopped behind the line of scrimmage by number 77, Journey Tala.
What a journey he's on. Jeez.
Tala with the big stop right there. There's not too many guys that can stop McMillan one-on-one, and Tala just did that with a big 3rd down stop for Lincoln. And that was Lincoln's last time out, so they will get the ball with around 25 seconds and no timeouts.
And that young man is a sophomore.
Yep. Eugene Rice, who's not playing right now, he's a sophomore, stands at 5'9", 250. Rashad Scott next to Tala, 5'11", 270. He's a sophomore. So you talk about the edge rushers. You know, one of the reasons why that edge is as open as it's been for PV and Fuel is because they plug those middles, but they really do work off of each other.
Well, anybody who's watching this and has a vote in one of the many polls as far for the top teams in San Diego County, I'm going to bet that Lincoln is picking up a lot of undecideds and a lot of votes and switching a lot of votes, because right now they look like the class of San Diego County.
If they continue with this two possession spread, if they increase it, you can see a lot of pollsters put them at number 1, especially after Cathedral beat Helix last night.
And we saw Helix play Mater Dei, and it was not as, again, it was week 1, and they were also,
Cathedral.
and they were on the road. Cathedral was on the road to Mater Dei, and Mater Dei was healthier than they are now.
Right.
But still, Lincoln looks really, they look like the class.
They look dominant on both sides of the ball. Well, and it's your typical, if you have a great run game and a great defense, that's a great combination for success, and Lincoln is showing that here tonight.
Coach David Dunn spent 7 years in the NFL as a wide receiver, most notably for the Raiders, as I'm sure he'll tell you.
And Lincoln's going to air it out right now over the middle at the 50. And a lot of space to run. Gets inside the 35, and a great job in getting out of bounds. Raylon Logan, the senior, a heads-up play by number 5.
Another really good throw.
They just spread it out. Nice tight spiral. Hits a wide-open Logan, and he gets out of bounds. Just a heads-up play right there to stop the clock. And they're just outside field goal range right now for Davila.
Real penalty.
We got a hold on 0. It's going to be a first down.
It was after the catch. It will stop the clock, but it will bring the ball back to the 42. As that looks like Lori Williams, the mother of Christopher Williams, Francis Parker athlete, who you had on a podcast with.
Absolutely.
She is a teacher, and Nick James knows her really well as well. So that's funny. Lori is a teacher at Lincoln.
And I think she knows. I think.
Justice. Criminal justice, Lori Williams. A great person. Both Nick James and I know her very well. And she's one of a kind, grade A quality. Chatham steps up in the pocket. We'll throw it to the near sideline. Nice move. Can he get out of bounds? Yes, he does. That's number 15, Jaden Smith. He has a few receptions on the season.
So now you need that quick 10-yard play close to the sidelines to give yourself. Or you could hand it off to Robinson and just see if you can take it in for 40 yards.
And, you know, look at Chatham right here. The play breaks down, keeps his eyes downfield, and finds Smith on the near sideline. So we're at that weird spot with the time where if they do get that first down, they have to get right up to the line and kill the clock. The clock will stop on a first down, but it takes about 7 to 8 seconds, so they really have to get out of bounds right here if they have any chance at a field goal attempt. We have the stack formation on the far side of the screen. This is going to be a double pass. And the long pass going for it all in the end zone. Whoa! Corey Thompson had it in his hands. A flag is thrown in the end zone. Thompson did look like he had some space that he created. A beautiful ball right there by Logan.
You might have pushed off a little bit.
Nice tight spiral. El Ronde was there. Great defense, not biting on that screen.
Doesn't matter so much that he dropped it because either way he was.
That was a great play call right there. Great X's and O's by Coach Carter, knowing that he had very little time. That was really the nail in the coffin.
You're right.
If Lincoln scores a touchdown right there, this game's all but over.
Then we're talking about next week.
Yeah.
Illegal forward pass against the offense. They had 2 forward passes on the same play. That penalty is declined. We also had pass interference against the offense, which is a 15-yard penalty. That penalty will be accepted. We will replay the down, and it's a 15-yard penalty.
Because it didn't look like a forward pass.
Okay, he's on the 39.
No, that ball was thrown behind him.
Yeah, that
was a tough call. Tough call.
Yeah.
A beautiful ball, though. The most impressive thing about that was the pass from Logan. You see the tight spiral on that? That was impressive.
Now I know who my emergency quarterback is.
Well, this is going to be a Hail Mary. They're just going to throw this one up. Oh, nope, they're not even. They're going to take the 16-point lead into halftime.
All right, well, let's quickly go down to the sidelines and hear from both sides of the field. As I believe, Bert, got anybody handy?
I don't, Coach. We were so caught up in it, I'm stuck over here on Lincoln sideline. Everybody's walking away.
All right, Bree, you got anybody?
I do. Here, we have Coach Dunn with us. He's about to join us right here. We're getting Coach Dunn, talking about this first half, what are we feeling?
We're doing pretty well. It's a physical game. The guys are having fun flying around. We still got to capitalize on more plays. Still had too many mistakes. Two touchdowns called back. We still got some work to do.
Roderick obviously making a huge statement in the first half. Thoughts on him?
He's running strong. He's only going to get stronger. We're going to keep feeding him the ball, keep having fun.
What's the message going to be in the locker room right now in the halftime?
Is self-control. Self-control. Make sure we play our game. It's 0-0. And let's start this over.
Awesome. Good luck, Coach. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Paul and Bert, we're going to go back to you, I think.
I love Coach Dunn.
So calm, cool, collected.
I know. All right. Bert, now do you got anybody? All right. Well, I guess not. Well, let's go. Let's start the halftime show with Nick Night Train James. Hey.
Yeah, great first half. A lot of scoring, good defense all around right there. So, we're going to go and check a quick look at some of the highlights. First, we're going to take a break. And then we're going to take a break. Then we're going to come back and I'm going to recap the first half for you when we come back on the other side of the break. Sit tight. We'll be right back. You know what? There's 5 Friday nights in September, and today we are using this as another extended Friday of football. So you had all the games last night, then we have this game that we're televising right here as well. So let's, with no further ado, let's go and check in on the first half highlights, first and second quarter. Let's just go ahead and slide down Imperial 805. Yeah, right down the way. I was baptized at St. Rita's. That's right down the way. Hive has the rock, and give it to the future UCLA Bruin. Roderick Robinson gets home, 41-yard touchdown, 6-pack. Hornets up 7-zip. More from UCLA. This time, Trey Edwards shoots the gap and blows it up. His roommate at UCLA, I'm sure, on the play. Nice play by Mater Dei. Now let's slide over to the second quarter. 7-0 lead for the Hive. And here we go again. Roderick down the gut. Young man's a specimen. 13-0. And yeah, it is going on for the Lincoln Hornets, and it's 13-0. PAT was no good. Crusaders We'll come back with no quit here in just a hot second. As we get that home, there's Roderick. He's pushing his way in. And it's 13-0 right there. PAT is no good after that. So Roderick got him down there, and they punched it in. So Crusaders are going to come back right here with no quit. Dominic Nankill. Look at this play. Paul and Bert talked about it before we went to recess. He's a point guard on the basketball team, makes plays, nice and athletic, hits Jerry McClure out in the flat, and then he makes some guys miss, and he delivers the blow, and that's a nice chunk play, and that sets up Nankill to DJ Overstreet on the skinny slant, and then DJ is out like a light. He gets to the house on the slant. DJ gets active, and they made their extra point, so that makes it 13-7. Lincoln still has the lead. Hornets added a field goal, and then at that point, it's 16-7. And now, let's give the rock to the young man again. Roderick, let's put him on the podium right now. Gala is November 29th, and Roderick gets to the crib. He's in there. That's a tub. Over 130 yards in the first half. 3 tubs. Yeah, November 29th. You're going to be at the gala with us, Roderick, living the dream. Hornets are up 23-7 at recess. So that is the score, and Lincoln gets the ball, as Bo alluded to, in the first half. They will get the ball to come out to start the third. First downs across the board, 8 apiece. Turnovers, modern day ball security, an issue again. 2, there you go, and it's 239 on the total yards. Pretty even right there across the board. Let's go and check in what we got going on other games this evening. Saturday games, because you know why? We got a referee shortage, so we're going to play games on Saturdays, Paul and Bert. Poway's at the crib. Connor Rath? No, it's not Connor Rath. They found some other offense. Luke Gonzalez, Dylan Curry, they hook up. Is that Connor right there? That's a touchdown. Nonetheless, 7-0 at that point. Poway is up on Torrey Pines at recess. Paul Rudy, 14-zip. Poway trying to get to 4-0 on the season. Let's go in and check in on a fighting Rick Jackson's Ramona at Madison. Madhouse, they're trying to get to 4-0. Reggie Johnson to Dylan McFeely. And McFeely, good run right there. Then Madison 4th and 2. James Tadow converts on a 12-yard snap right there. And then Tadow again, gonna get home, 2-0 at that point. PAT is good by Madison. Ramona, they're gonna get on the board. Colin Lester, 6-yard touchdown pass to Josh King, ties it up at 7 apiece. But right now at recess, it is all Madhouse trying to get their record to 4-0 on the season. The score in that game right now at recess, Madison is leading 21-7 at the half in that ball game. There you go, Paul and Bert. And then we got Albany State, Florida A&M, HBCU game on right here on KUSI. That was the 3 o'clock game right here. So the Rattlers, Paul, they're 0-2. They're at the crib. They're trying to get a W. Look at the ball right here. Slip screen, jailbreak screen, just like Bo used to run at Chula Vista High School back in the day when he was a Spartan. Down to the 1, so they don't punch. So what do? You give the rock to the running back, and the young man is going to go in. Tremont Davis, he gets home, and that's in there for a 7-7 tie. Rattlers trying to pick up their first W of the season and get in the win column and run their record to 1-2. Florida A&M fans, they love it. And here comes more from Florida A&M as they were going to get a tub right here. Look at this. Slant on the outside, corner at the slot, and that's in there. Bang, bang, 23-13. The Rattlers pick up their first W of the season, winning against Albany State, 23-13. There you go, Paul. So, Paul, what we got going on? Oh, Keyshawn. Paul, we got some Keyshawn. Look at that. Flea flicker, Paul. Keyshawn. Touchdown against Southern Miss. And I believe Keyshawn had 3 for 49 yards and a touchdown this afternoon against Southern Miss. If I remember correctly, there's the final score right there. Number 15, Canes. They get it done against Southern Miss. Nick, 30-7. There you go, Paul.
That's a great halftime show. I'll tell you what, let's take a break. We're going to come back. I think we have that Roderick play.
I hope so.
We have Allison,
everyone, it's a must-see.
Yeah, Allison cut it up for us, so we'll be right back and stick around for us. All right, welcome back to the KUSI PPR halftime show. Lincoln in control against Modern Day. We are joined by the other member of the team who's busy putting a sportscast together. That would be Night Train James, who joins us also from the BAM. I'll tell you what, Nick, we brought this up because I'm in charge of cutting Carroll's corner, and I noticed that the play that he scored on looks identical. So Allison Edmonds back in sports put the 2 plays together. This is the touchdown that I'm talking about against Modern Day that just happened with the great lateral move. And if you go to our social media platforms and watch Carroll's corner, Coach Carroll, a week prior, same kind of deal. Look at the lateral move to the step outside. different play call, but almost identical route to the end zone.
Well, and it looked like that lateral move on the touchdown tonight was almost better than the one we just showed right now. But yeah, similar concept. The ability to get upfield, downhill, and then change directions on a dime. So impressive from a guy of that size.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bo, totally. It's like the young kids that don't know who Barry Sanders is. Google him, YouTube him. Barry Sanders with the jump cut in the hole. If you watch Hard Knocks, they show Barry Sanders that movement in the hole. And he didn't have a great offensive line when he was in Detroit back in the day. And he makes those jump cuts, and that's how Roderick is. But I would say Roderick is more powerful than Barry. He comes through the hole, and then he doesn't get, once he gets going downhill, you're going to step in front of him and you're going to get punished, or he's just going to run past you because he's big, he's fast. UCLA is getting a specimen. Pac-12 stunner. Young man can go all the way across the board. Put him on the podium right now, November 29th. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
I mean, we might start just chiseling his name into the trophy, but he has to stay healthy. He has to stay healthy.
Yeah.
A lot of season to go. We haven't even gotten into league yet. But the one thing, when you, being that I'm probably the only guy old enough here that actually remembers seeing Barry Sanders play.
I said Barry Sanders, so I'm old enough.
Oh, all right. But the one thing that they have in common is, and Coach Carroll alluded to this in Carroll's Corner, is that moving sideways, most running backs, most athletes, when they have to take a sideways step, they slow down. Roderick doesn't. So, hey, Nick, thanks for a great halftime show. Let's go back down to the field where we're going to hear what John Joyner has to say. Here's Bert Grossman.
Coach Joyner.
Yes, Brett.
Oh, thank you so much. Tough defense. Your defense coordinator is just doing an amazing job. I mean, what do you got to do to get on the board a little bit? It can't be all nan kill the second time.
Yeah, we just got to put drives together and get first downs, and we can't, worry about how much we're down. We just got to get one right now. So we get the ball, we got to go drive down and score.
Got anything special to stop Roderick Robinson? He's pretty strong, isn't he?
I don't know. Hopefully he didn't come out of the locker room.
Thanks, Coach Joyner. That was it, Paul. Did you hear it?
Yes, we did. Thanks. I mean, he's got to be a realist. He knows that it's an uphill climb right now. I mean, but at the high school level, strange things can happen. Yeah. The silly mistake that happens deep in the end zone, the things that don't happen at the collegiate or certainly never happen at the professional level can happen at the high school level. So until someone starts singing, I say we watch this one with keen interest.
Well, Joyner mentioned something, and a lot of people might have overlooked it, but first downs. Keeping drives alive right now is something Mater Dei hasn't been able to do, and it's going to be very important to keep. The only way at this point to stop Roderick Robinson is to keep him off the field. And the only way they're going to do that is if they sustain drives and keep the chains moving.
Now, we don't have time of possession because we're not that sophisticated, but first downs are not that lopsided. Lincoln has 9 first downs by our unofficial total to Mater Dei's 8. Turnover battle almost equal. Mater Dei has 2 turnovers to Lincoln's 1. Total yardage, a little bit of a sizable advantage for Lincoln. They have 316 total yards to 248 yards. What's keeping Mater Dei in the game is the number of Lincoln penalties. They have 7 penalties for a total of 60 yards. Take some of those penalties off the board, and this ball game is already over.
I believe they kept that one drive alive, and where they scored that touchdown on that roughing the passer penalty.
So you're looking at both teams taking their full 18 minutes to get ready for the second half. We want to welcome all you Padre viewers who are watching us now, because the Dodgers are having their way with our Friars in Game 2 of that series. So right now, Lincoln behind Roderick Robinson's 3 touchdowns, up 23-7 on Mater Dei, who is really, their season is hanging in the balance. Even with their 0-3 start, guess where they're ranked in the state of California?
Where?
38th. I mean,
there's a lot of schools in California, isn't there?
A lot of schools, and in the schedule they've played,
right,
and how close they played Carlsbad, there's really, they're going to get into a softer part of their schedule once they get past Lincoln, and they'll be a little more evenly matched. But this is just, their playoff hopes and their dream season hopes are hanging in the balance right now as far as they need this win.
Well, there are 3 losses if we're not counting today's loss, but say if they do, we're talking Cathedral Catholic, Carlsbad, and Lincoln. Those are all 3 teams that we can possibly see in the Open Division.
Right.
So with that being said, Division I is still a thing for Mater Dei. maybe not a first-round bye, but nonetheless, they're still going to be a powerhouse in Division I football in the San Diego County.
Well, you opened that can of worms. Let me plow right through the can. Who is your open division if we had to have it right now?
Well, Poway is putting a hurting on Torrey Pines right now. They're looking really good.
They're not in the conversation per se, but will they work their way into the conversation?
They're just outside looking in right now, and they play in a tough conference. But I'm looking right now, Cathedral Catholic, Carlsbad, Lincoln is definitely there. And that fourth spot, Madison, maybe. They're playing well tonight. So that's Rick Jackson has done a great job with that program for decades. They've been in that conversation for a while now, and they have the offense and the defense.
And they certainly do, but their critics will look at their schedule and say, but it's a soft schedule that they're piling up wins on.
Up front, but they play in that Western League, and the Western League
so we'll know more.
Yes.
We'll know more down the stretch.
There's no doubt about that. Nope, because they're going to play against Lincoln. They're going to play against Cathedral Catholic.
All right, do our reporters have anybody that we can go? Oh, well, it looks like we're going to start the second half. All right, so the halftime is over. Big thank you to Bert Grossman. A big thank you to Breeze Savant. And while we have this moment, let's thank the people that are providing the pictures. Joaquin Duncan is the best sports photographer, not only in San Diego, but in Southern California, maybe this side of the Rocky Mountains for sure. He's providing the up top. This is his camera right there, but Tim Gaughan, Mark Chapman, Mike Milburn also providing those sideline angles. We have the best, the PPR Sports, the best photographers.
They make the world go round here.
They're the secret behind our success as far as the show is concerned, and they're on display tonight. We want to thank them for their considerable efforts.
Davila with another line drive kick, picked up by Overstreet, makes the first guy miss, splits a couple more defenders, and gets across the 40 for a nice modern-day return.
All right. Well, that's the way you want to start it. You want to start with at least a long drive here, preferably a long drive with points.
Well, yeah, at this point, they're going to take points over long, but nonetheless, coming out of the half, Roderick Robinson, 17 carries for 137 yards, averaging 8 yards per tote. We mentioned on the season he averages 14 yards per carry, so modern-day defense doing a little bit better.
They're shutting him down.
Yeah,
they're shutting him down.
But nonetheless, he has 3 scores, and it was really that opening drive that really set the tone for Lincoln. Scoring, going 60 yards in 3 plays, and all 3 plays going through the legs of Robinson.
All right.
And we start the second half action.
Going to the left, comes out into the flat pass.
Another quick hit.
Oh!
And
however
the receiver, Roland George had to turn into a defender quick, more than a receiver right there.
It looked like Josiah Cox knew what was coming.
And Josiah Cox.
He's going to see that one in his sleep.
Yeah, great one-on-one. We talked about him being a safety, but it makes the defense so much easier to coach when you have a guy like Josiah Cox who could do a variety of things in a variety of ways, whether it's playing near the line of scrimmage or playing back as you see him. And you see him in the slot right now. Like, there's just not too many safeties that can come up, face one-on-one, and press the receiver. 2nd and 10 at the 43 for Modern Day. Pressure coming up the gut, and Dominic Nankill will have to throw that away. And, apologies to Shargulov, number 20. I was calling him Bartolome, so excuse me for that. He had an exceptional first half. Shargulov brought the pressure up the gut right there, and really Nankill didn't have any other way to go about it but just throw that one out of bounds.
Just to get back to Josiah Cox, just a shameless plug. He's going to be in the PPR podcast Tuesday, so look for that. He'll be chatting with Bert and I in PPR podcast number 58. It'll drop on Tuesday, so we look forward to his conversation. Bert was doing his research for the podcast and found at least one chart where Josiah is listed as a top safety in the country.
Yeah, we have some impressive safeties. Another one, Marcus Ratcliffe, as Lincoln brings the house. And Nankill is just going to have to throw this one away. I was going to mention Marcus Radcliffe's another guy we saw along with Jackson Holloway at Cathedral Catholic. Those are other safeties in the county that really bring the juice.
Well, until Modern Day finds a way to slow down that pass rush.
Well, you're not going to slow down that pass rush. They brought the house right there. They just went one-on-one on the outside and just a casino blitz. And it was actually Jerome.
A lot of lookout blocks.
Yeah, Jerome Roberts came through clean. And they really, what it came down to is, especially when you have that spread formation, they didn't have enough helmets to block. Lincoln, a great defensive call right there. Bringing up 4th down and a 3-and-out. A very disappointing 3-and-out after a great return by Overstreet. And a nice bounce right there.
Corey Thompson with the return?
Yeah, but that is a great coverage by Isaiah Buxton. And welcome back to KUSI. Lincoln starts the second half with their first offensive possession near the 10-yard line, and Roderick Robinson up the middle breaks the first tackle, and a bunch of gold helmets get to the ball, push Robinson back, but not before a nice 8-yard gain. And that's what he's been averaging all the way up until this point, bringing up a 2nd and 2.
Running through a lot of arm tackles there on Mater Dei's part, and arm tackles don't bring that train down. They don't slow the train down.
Ball at the 20. 2 receivers to the left, stacked to the right as well for KJ Chatham. Chatham has had a nice first half. Really not allowing that defense to concentrate on one thing. Robinson has one man to beat. That's DJ Overstreet, and Overstreet brings him down, but not before a 60-yard run by Robinson.
But there's a flag on the play. Is it coming back?
I think it was a horse collar. That was the only way to bring Robinson down right there. They started the ball at the 20. He brought it to the 30. So that's a 50-yard run by Robinson. And just, once again, shot out of a cannon. That lateral movement, bang, bang, one side to the other, and a great job by Overstreet and tracking him down, but not before the penalty.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle against the defense, number 4. The run will count and will include 15-yard penalty at the end for a first down.
That's now 19 carries for a $195, and Chatham on the other side, 9 of 11 for 171. Efficient from the quarterback.
Very efficient, winning the quarterback duel. But it all starts up front, because that's where this game is being won, is in the trenches. Lincoln's just bigger on both sides of the ball, and it's starting now to take its toll. Mater Dei is playing a little defeated.
And the RPO near side, and that ball was thrown at the feet of the intended receiver. And we talked about last week, Nico Todd, the fact that they were able to start a sophomore quarterback and still get the win, you mentioned it just right now, it shows the depth of this Lincoln squad right now. Yes, Robinson is the guy, but it takes more than one guy to really, put a performance like this together.
As they're starting to really assert their will.
And that slips out of the tackle of Edwards. We talk about the line up front. Left tackle Logan Moore, left guard Michael Fields, the center and anchor of that offensive line, Charlie Hines, the senior standing at 6'3", 290. Then Adrian Gutierrez, a junior standing at 6'2", 250. And on the edge, the right tackle, Rashawn Hardman, a sophomore. Those guys are really doing a great job on the line here today for the Hornets.
And don't undersell the sophomore. 6'2", 275, Bo. Another big as a house.
He looks small out there compared to everyone else on the Lincoln offensive line. But no, they're doing a great job with their pass protection and their run blocking. 3rd and 6 at the 15, a one-on-one jump ball. Did Buxton turn his head in time?
No.
No, he didn't. Chatham taking advantage of that one-on-one opportunity. Aiden Billups, the intended receiver, has 1 touchdown on the season already. They like the one-on-one matchup.
And this is where 7-on-7 comes into play. That's a 7-on-7 back shoulder throw that they work on all offseason, and it pays dividends right there.
And Buxton played that press coverage. He was there, he just didn't turn his head in time. Looks like we have an injured player on the field. Bert, can we see who the injured player is?
I can't from here, Bo, but it looks like the quarterback, KJ. I can't tell right now. It's KJ.
Oh, wow, and he got rid of that ball quickly, too. That will be...
Can we see the play again?
Yeah, let's go. I thought he got rid of the ball quick enough.
Let's see, just keep an eye on...
Oh, but they brought 6, yeah.
Oh, maybe got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, they brought the pressure. That was exactly what you saw from Lincoln on the last play for Mater Dei, that spread formation, and instead of allowing him to have time in the pocket, they brought the pressure, knowing that they were bringing more than they had blocking.
Well, he walks off gingerly, knowing that he has captain efficiency, 9 of 12, 171 yards passing. I mean, his quarterback rating, if I knew how to calculate it, would be exceptional.
Yeah, it would definitely be over 100. That is for sure. And, you know, normally when you have an effective running back like Robinson, the defense is going to stack the box with 7 or 8 guys. But because a guy like Chatham is so efficient right now, you just can't do that on defense. And it looks like they're going to bring in Corey Thompson Jr. He's going to take this snap. He's going to run it up the middle, slips through a tackle, and gets tackled near the 2-yard line, brought down by the defensive end, senior Nate Campbell.
So this looks like a little more of a wildcat sort of thing that they're going to be doing.
Yeah, he had no intention of throwing that ball. That's the second time we've seen on this drive Trey Edwards miss a tackle near the line of scrimmage.
So now the youngster comes in.
Nico Ta'a, the sophomore, started last week, got the win. He didn't win the game for Lincoln, but he didn't lose it for him either with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Vincent Friend first to the ball, and he holds up Robinson as the rest of the Crusader defense pushes him backwards away from the goal line. Vincent Friend, another great storyline, got injured in that state championship game.
Lincoln's taking a timeout. We'll take a break.
And back with you, third quarter action, 8:57 remaining.
I wonder
what's going to happen here. Robinson, the solo back in the backfield.
He's going to go straight forward. And
gets met at the line of scrimmage. He didn't get in, but did he get the first down? The spot looks like he's short, and it's going to bring up a 4th and inches. Looks like Robinson got the look. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that again, number 2. Let's see if you can get that inch. Oh, and the bad snap through Robinson's hand and recovered by the Crusaders.
Number 26 with the recovery.
I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. The Crusaders defense bows up on the goal line with their backs against the wall and recovered at the 15. Possibly a huge momentum play.
Diego Rodriguez-Diaz with the recovery. As well, maybe that's the one thing Roderick can't do is.
Well, he was trying to move before the ball got to him. And that ball came back a little hot and heavy. But nonetheless, a huge stop for Mater Dei, still only down 2 scores, Paul.
So, breathing new life, but they still have to figure out a way to stop the Lincoln pass rush, which was non-dom.
And a nice hit by Corey Thompson Jr. wrangles Roland George down, but not before a big first down for the Crusaders. Nice job. This ball's thrown in rhythm at the 30.
Toughest ball to catch when you know you're going to get hit.
Well, right over the middle, exactly, Paul. And especially the way this secondary's been all over the ball, they haven't given any of these wide receivers much room on the outside. 1st and 10 for Mater Dei. Nankivell's going to roll light. He's going to get by Peavy.
And now he's going to do it with his legs.
He's going to get to the outside and run out of bounds with under 8 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. Still a lot of time left, Paul.
Dom is 11 for 23, 137 yards passing. And this will add to his total of almost 30 yards rushing.
And he just baited Peavy right there. Doing a great job.
You know, on that play, it's the first time I noticed Peavy, and they look a little tired of chasing number 10. Maybe that gets a little Peavy and Fuel running out of fuel a little bit, perhaps.
Fuel at the bottom of your screen,
a little
on the edge, and a beautiful tackle right there by number 20. The Steel Canyon transfer has done a great job here today. Adrian Shargulov, exceptional tackle in the open field on a big bruising back of McMillan. Steel Canyon provides great athletes. Coach Longerbone does a great job at that program in Steel Canyon. And Lincoln definitely benefiting from the free safety seniors standing at 5'11", 185.
Big third down here.
3rd and 6 at the Modern Day 38. Coming up on the 7-minute mark here in the 3rd quarter.
Got a little bring it on action.
Spread formation. Nankivell's going to go to the one-on-one and overthrows his intended receiver, Jerry McClure.
Begging the question, is this 4-down territory? Is it 4-down territory the rest of the way?
The way this secondary is playing, again, great coverage by Chris White. Jerry McClure has a couple inches on White and had a couple steps, but just overthrown by Nankill.
4th down, 8 yards to go. For the Crusaders. Back for the Hornets.
And it looks like McClure is on, and the special teams is on for Modern Day.
And here's where he just ran, a 40-yard fly, and now has to punt the ball.
High snap, brings it down.
Oh!
Did that touch a Lincoln player?
Yes, it did, but now who got it first? I think Lincoln has. Modern Day says they have it.
The scrum, who
Lincoln
comes
says
up
they
with
have
it?
Modern Day
has
has
it. Wow.
The fatigue of the kick.
Wow.
Works. Look at it. He's rubbery legged. And that's just it. I feel for
Hunter Wiggins.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's just instinct.
That's
the ball.
dodgeball right there. What are you going to do?
Exactly. No one's expecting a line drive punt 10 yards in front of you.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Well, another big break for Modern Day. Can they capitalize on the big break with 6:47 remaining in the 3rd quarter?
Stay hydrated, everybody.
Yeah.
Is this one not over yet? Modern Day with new life at midfield.
Ball at the 47 of Modern Day. Spread formation. Lincoln brings 5 off the edge. Josiah Cox, no holding call. And this ball will be thrown out of bounds. Once again, great coverage by Hunter Wiggins and Joshua Carroll.
That play had no chance.
Josiah Cox, we talked about him in the secondary. We talked about his open field tackling, and he came in right there off the edge looking to get the sack.
After Roderick Robinson, the story of this contest is the Lincoln pass rush. They've basically taken Modern Day completely out of their game, and now it's just a matter of can Dom find some magic and make something happen.
The biggest plays we've seen, Paul, and you mentioned it a few times, is when he's been outside the pocket.
Running for his life.
And we have a timeout. We'll take a quick break. And it looks like Modern Day is going to continue this spread formation. I wouldn't be surprised if Lincoln continues to bring the pressure off the edge.
When you say they continue to play the spread, what other game? That's them.
You know,
they don't have another way to play.
Yeah. Well, you know, as far as the spread formation and just nobody in the backfield, that's
empty backfield.
Yeah.
As opposed to a one-back set, but still, they're spread out attack. That's them. They don't have a plan B.
Nat Keel steps up in the pocket, has some room, he'll tuck and run, gets past a couple defenders, and he'll slide inside the 35 for a modern-day first down.
That is their, that's planned, that's the best way to negate the pass rush.
It's one of the first times we saw zero empty backfield and them, Lincoln, not bring the pressure. And Nat Keel dissected that
made them pay
defense
for
easily.
It.
6:15 and counting. McMillan back in the game. 3 receivers to the right. Jalen Hall, your single-side receiver at the bottom of your screen.
And Lincoln sees something. They're coming.
Nat Keel will roll right to the far side of the field. PV blocked by McMillan, and Nat Keel's is going to have to throw that one away.
Got a flag on the play?
Think we have a hold?
It did look like McMillan got some jersey of PV attacking that outside shoulder. 6:01 remaining in the third. And the holding call will bring up a 1st and 20 for the Modern Day Crusaders with 6:01 remaining. At this point, with the ball in Lincoln territory, I think it's safe to say 4-down territory.
4-down territory, but what you're seeing are the effects of fatigue now. You get a little grabby when your legs start to go. For the guys playing both ways, it's hot. The pass rush is relentless, and sometimes your fundamentals break down and you just start clutching and grabbing.
McMillan behind Nat Keel. Nat Keel's going to look far side. And he's just going to throw that one away. A great job by Jerome Roberts. It looked like he was the QB spy on that one. Saw Nat Keel roll right and came up and attacked.
I would argue there was a play where Dom didn't have to. He could have stood in the pocket a little longer.
Yeah, a little happy feet for obvious reasons.
Yeah, yes. When you've been running for your life for about 45 minutes.
Burt, 5:54 remaining. Modern Day Crusaders down 16. What's the feeling on the sideline right now?
Well, let me tell you something. Just watching this, because you're talking about the pass rush, and you're absolutely right. I mean, this is why people say 7-on-7 is not real football. There's no pass rush, and you see how it just destroys an offense. If you have a pass rush, it just takes everything away from every offense. That's why these guys are getting $10, $20, $40 million a year. It destroys your offense. That's what you're seeing tonight.
And Micah Valenzuela with the sack. That, you know, they're just, at this point, Bert, is it just Lincoln's just bringing more numbers than that can be blocked?
I think it's more athletically. And, you know, the interesting thing is, you know, if they weren't bringing him, they didn't have this kind of pass rush. They have so many athletes in the secondary, they'd be jumping these routes, and you see a lot more interceptions. I mean, he's just, there's no routes anymore. He's just running for his life and playing street ball pretty much at this point. Yeah. That's how good this pass rush has been against him.
Yeah, I was going to expand on that, Bert. Just because even if you defeat the first wave, if you even get to the second or third line of defenders, there's no relief there. They got studs all over the field.
Nat Keel going for it all right here.
That's a punt.
And that is brought in by Corey Thompson, and he has the speed to return it to the house. Corey Thompson Jr. returns it for a Lincoln touchdown.
What did Dandy Don Meredith sing? Turn out the lights.
Corey Thompson with his 3rd interception on the season. You rarely see a ball come out of Nat Keel's hands like that, but because he's been on the run, fatigue has probably set in, and he just threw that one up.
But where was the modern-day receiver?
That is a great question, Paul. Sometimes you can overthrow a ball and just lose it in your hands, and Corey Thompson Jr. did the rest. The first defensive score for Lincoln, multiple turnovers on the night. Corey Thompson had an interception taken back off of a roughing the passer call, and this time makes the most of it. The safety, we talked about Josiah Cox, Corey Thompson, we talked about Hunter Wiggins. Chris White has played exceptionally well in that secondary. Adrian Shargulov has played exceptionally well in that secondary, but it all starts with that front seven and Corey Thompson doing it on both ends on the offensive and defensive end for Lincoln here today.
All right, so Coach Dunn, obviously there was an unsportsmanlike call somewhere that Coach Dunn doesn't agree with.
Maybe a block
and
in
now,
the back.
And now he just said
there is a holding on the return, I would assume.
So are points coming off the board?
Points, it looks like, are coming.
And Coach Dunn is not happy.
Bree or let's go down to Bree.
Hang on. Let's watch this for a second. We'll get to Bree on the injury update in a second, but first let's find out what the call is.
I'd like to know, Bree, once we go to you, what the call was and maybe why Coach Dunn is so upset after this call.
All right, so we've lost the referee's
it looks like
mic.
the holding on the return.
So
the ball will stay with Lincoln, and then an unsportsmanlike conduct on Coach David Dunn. So bring the ball back, and then another 15 yards because of the unsportsmanlike by Dunn. Bree, did you see what happened down there?
First down, Hornets. Hey, Bert. I'm sorry. Hey, Bo.
That's right. I've been
called
called
worse. It's a little static on my end, so it's a little static on my end. So apologies on that. But yeah, things are a bit heated. It kind of just goes to say how much passion is involved in these games, how much they care about these games. So yeah, it's a bit heated, but really it comes to the root of really just caring about these games and kind of how every play matters, every call matters, every penalty matters. It can always somehow come around to you in the end. So I only got a little glimpse of it. It was a bit crowded, but yes, it was a bit heated. And like I said, it really just comes down to the passion, behind the coaches, behind the players. So that's kind of my viewpoint on this right here. Let's see, I can hear. And also, aside from that, I do have a bit of an injury update. I know things were a little heated, but to go back a little bit, rewind to when their QB KJ Chatham was on the field for a bit. That was actually a situation where it kind of got the wind knocked out of him, so he is expected to go back in. Oh wait, let's see. There he is right there. He's right there under center, but it is kind of a nice feeling knowing they can always just throw in. Oh, there's Roderick.
And Roderick Robinson goes. Robinson goes untouched off the left side for his 4th touchdown of the night. Eclipses 200 yards on that rushing touchdown.
So what was all the fuss about? As that's maybe the most basic play in their playbook.
One cut upfield, downhill, and Robinson with a 75-yard touchdown run.
Kind of a zone blocking scheme, put hat on hat and run to the open area. And
it's
that's
that
exactly
90-degree angle.
Yeah.
That 90-degree cut, so effective for a good running back, acting like they're going to, hit that outside, make that one cut, and set up the blocks, and that's exactly what Robinson did on that run right there to extend the Lincoln lead. And Davila, with the extra point, extends the lead 30-7 with 4:36 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And thank you for staying with us here on KUSI. It's been the Roderick Robinson Show. Coach Dunn didn't lie. They continue to feed him 23 carries, 273 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns.
Personal foul, number 26, Mater Dei. It'll be a first down, Mater Dei ball.
So now you're playing for pride. You're down 4 scores with 16 minutes of game time, 17 minutes of game time, and there's no stopping that guy.
I mean, he's standing next to grown men and is bigger than all. It's just,
I'll tell you
it's
what,
impressive.
They were both, him and Trey,
right.
And I gave them both a hug and wished them well. I felt like I was hugging a redwood. I mean, he's as big as a tree. And
which is so surprising because you get a guy of that size and you don't expect him to be that fast, and he was just shot out of a cannon right there, going untouched. And Nankill, David Peavy got there first, but he brought him down by the face mask. But this is getting ugly here.
Yeah, so now at this point of the game, what do? I mean, it would take a pigskin, the mother of all miracles for this game. As you'll see the horse collar right there, that's a 15-yard penalty and be one of Mater Dei's best gains of the day. But do you continue to play your starters here? Or you have a lot of season to go for Mater Dei? You're going to get into your...
Personal foul, face mask, number 11, Green. Still be first down.
No, yes, at this point they have to risk, they're still down technically only 3 scores, down 23 with a couple extra 2-point conversions, obviously. But 4:28, there's still a lot of time left. Mater Dei's defense is still opportunistic. They've already created a couple turnovers here today and a couple big 4th down and 3rd down stops. So, you know, even though this game does seem like it's not within reach, I would still expect them. Well, and then here, Nankill. And now he's not getting away from the pressure. David Peavy, after that face mask, comes back with his first sack of the night.
Highly recruited young man who we're hoping makes his college announcement.
And makes a great swim move right there, getting inside that right tackle. Bert, I know you were really good at that coming from the end. What are you seeing from this defensive line of Lincoln right now?
They're just overwhelming them. Again, this is the thing we're talking about, laying off, getting your starters out. This front seven's almost like Roderick. They're not going to give in. That's what makes them so good. As you see, they're getting faster and stronger as it goes on, and they're licking their chops. I mean, look at it. There's nowhere for anybody to go. It's just, I mean, you could literally have Tom Brady out there right now. That would not matter.
I would say it would be worse because Tom Brady couldn't get away from him. Peavy has offers.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Peavy has offers from USC, Oregon, Washington, and Fuel also.
SDSU commit.
SDSU commit. So I mean, we're talking about guys that are going to be. We're talking about good D1 players.
Bert, I'm interested because you were that guy for some time. What are some of the characteristics that stand out from a good pass rusher?
I mean, we see a lot of guys just run right into the offensive line and try to bull rush. These guys come in and they see them as defenders. They see themselves as running backs, and they put moves on and try to create space. I mean, you just watch it. They're like receivers in space trying to get away. That's how they treat the offensive line. They don't want to engage with them. They want to get past you.
Yeah, and you could tell, like, even at the beginning of the game, they were lighter up front. They didn't have the 3 hogs, as we mentioned, with Eugene Rice being out. But it's really been those edge rushers. You know, with the 2 guys in the middle and the edge rushers on the end, they work in unison, right? They both complement each other. Nankill, 3rd and 8.
The time now.
Jerry McClure with the reception is brought down by Chris White.
Lincoln guilty of 10 penalties for a total of 120 yards. Take away some of those mistakes.
It'd be different.
Yeah, I mean,
well, it would be the same, but the margin would be much larger. 3:15 and counting. Mater Dei picked up the first down on that last completion to McClure. McMillan bounces off a tackle, falls forward to the 42, right at the first down marker. You know, and this is a point in the game where they can't abandon the run. You know, slips that tackle, falls forward, and picks up a first down. McMillan back with it, bounces off of a tackle. Roberts can't bring him down, and Peavy throws him out of bounds. The sideline wanted a horse collar, didn't get it. Peavy just all over the field right now.
Absolutely. Easy to see why so many schools are interested in his services. He stands out.
Right.
You know,
the size, and you know, we've said this multiple times, size and speed on the offensive and defensive end for Lincoln. It looks like we have a timeout on the field. And when Nantkill has needed to rely on someone, he's relied on number 14, Jerry McClure, one-on-one on the outside, and they just take advantage of the matchup. Nice ball by Nantkill, throwing it towards the sideline, away from the defender, and really threw Jerry McClure open right there. Once again, great coverage on the outside by Chris White.
Well, that was one of the few times the modern-day offensive line held up, gave him plenty of time, a clean pocket.
I've been very impressed with Chris White today. Jerry McClure, one of the best receivers in the county, as Roland George takes this direct snap and is brought down at the line of scrimmage.
Peavy again.
Chris White definitely gives up a couple inches to McClure, but he's done a really good job on the outside on number 14.
2:15 left in the third quarter. Mater Dei trying to just stay within long dialing distance.
Roland George did come in for Dominic Nantkill last season when Nantkill was injured. So he knows how to run this offense. He'll keep it up the middle, goes untouched, and is brought down by the referee, Joshua Carroll, and Josiah Cox.
Is the referee okay?
Not a position you want to be in.
Yes.
George fakes the handoff. Peavy couldn't attack George because he had to wait for that running back. And let's hope the referee gets up okay as they're attending to him.
Oh, this is an official timeout. Get it? From last night, go ahead. We'll roll it. Our PPR, we were at 22 games last night. I think one of the biggest was the Green Tongue game as LCC welcomed in Chris Hauser's Mission Hill Grizzlies. You're looking at the coin toss. I think everyone was expecting Mission Hills to come away with a road win, but Sean Sovakal's boys had something in store.
That Avocado League is good, Paul. We talk about the Western League. The Avocado League, from top to bottom, is probably the best. Western League, top 3 teams the best, but, you know, from top to bottom, Carlsbad barely beat El Camino, and Mission Hills was a top 10 team coming into this week, and LCC came out with the win at home.
Let's just finish up this high. Oh, that was Mission Hill's defensive score.
Yeah, it was a close game.
But La Costa Canyon went on to win the game by a 13-10 margin. Do we have anything else on the...
And there's Carlsbad, El Camino, Julian saying the best pure passer in the county. He rolls left, and he could do it all as well. From a variety of formations, you talk about personnel, 12 personnel, 22 personnel. This guy can do it all from every formation. And El Camino, always big, always athletic out of the North County.
Always hard
It's
nose.
a team that is good year in and year out, and saying off the play fake, just so composed. Under snap, a beautiful ball to Justin Johnson. Johnson, you talk about a wide receiver one. That guy fits the bill. And El Camino, if they can put up points on the offensive end, this team is going to be good because we know they have the Hogs up front to stifle any run game. El Camino kept this game close. This was closer than a lot of people had thought initially. Carlsbad pulls out the win 20-14 on the road.
If you're a Lancer fan, you have to be optimistic because Zach Marshall, I believe, is now eligible to play starting next week.
Right.
So
they get one of the best pass catchers back.
Julian Sam will have one more big weapon. The referee seems to be okay, leaving under his own power, but I'm looking at maybe a right leg injury. He's going to leave the contest. Jason Carter looking on, offering his training services.
Bert, we saw Nankio come off the field and George replace him. Is that an injury concern, or what exactly is going on with Nankio right now?
I think it's just he's getting beat up and they're saving his life right now, to be honest with you. I mean, this is still, and you talked about, this is a long season. I mean, they're still going to be in D1 playoffs. This is a 4x4 40 relay. It doesn't matter who's ahead at the second leg. They want to be there at the end, and I think that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, as Nankio comes back in after that timeout. Yeah, Nankio for those 3-4 plays in a row, like Bert said, was running for his life. And it got to a point where you could just tell his legs were kind of giving out. PV and Fuel, they're getting, Coach Dunn said it perfectly at halftime. They're just going to get stronger in the second half, and we've seen that here today.
Yeah, the field starts to tilt downhill when Lincoln has the ball.
And this speed option, the toss to McMillan, and Jerome Roberts tracks him down, sideline to sideline. We talk about the outside linebackers. Don't forget about Jerome Roberts, the middle linebacker.
And I think we have a hold here on the left-hand side.
If you're Nankio running the speed option, you have to attack the line of scrimmage.
Oh,
you have to make Jerome Roberts choose one or the other. Yes, Nankio is tired. That was probably more of a business decision than anything else. But in that speed option, as a quarterback, you have to sacrifice your body. If he goes towards Roberts, as we wait for this call.
We're going to hold on the offense, number 6. That 10-yard penalty would be enforced. We also have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct against number 13, Green, and he has been ejected.
Oh, wow. I wonder if we could run that replay again to see exactly what Joshua Carroll did right there.
Maybe he was the guy being held.
Okay.
No replay. He might have been the guy being held, though, Bo. And it was such a blatant hold, and maybe he overreacted.
Just didn't like it. Maybe, possibly using a hammer, to get off the block, and possibly getting a helmet or a face mask while, coming down on the block. But I was mentioning for Nankio, that speed option, you really have to attack that line of scrimmage. Jerome Roberts played that so well from the middle linebacker position. So they're going to go back 10, and then they're going to go up 15. So
they couldn't do the math and just.
And let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and send it down to Bert on the sidelines.
Bo, I was on the same thing with you. It was interesting. He's getting beat up so bad and he's worn out. The first play back in to call speed option was interesting to me.
Yeah. And it looks like Roland George is going to come in behind snap in the shotgun formation. 106 and counting here in the third quarter. Mater Dei needing this score. Roland George is going to take this one himself off the left side. Chris Fuel wraps him up on his legs along with Adrian Shargulov.
Nankill, 14 of 30 for 204 yards passing, another 42 yards rushing. So he's been the big chunk of Mater Dei's offense. The biggest receiving yardage total belongs to Jerry McClure, who unofficially has 72 yards receiving on 3 catches.
You know, we see the rushing yards from Nankill at 42, but he's run a lot more than that today. He's definitely clips that 100-yard
the
mark.
Side to side. Just running for his life, he's probably tripled that.
Roland George, 2 receptions for 30 yards. Anthony McMillan has 3 receptions for 17 yards. George will fake the handoff up the gut, and he'll get tackled near the 5-yard line. And looks like he's a bit injured. That will end the 3rd quarter. Lincoln 30, Mater Dei 7 here on KUSI.
Welcome back to the 4th quarter. You're looking live at the Hive, where the Lincoln Hornets, behind the power running of Roderick Robinson and their high-pressure defense, have a considerable 23-point lead over Mater Dei, though the Crusaders are threatening deep in Lincoln territory as we start the 4th quarter. Let's kick it down to the field where Bree Savant is standing by.
Hey, thank you so much, Paul. Yep, 4th quarter kicking off. And earlier in the game, I mentioned to you guys that Tyree Robinson, Lincoln's standout on the football team and basketball team, he's out here showing his support on the sidelines. And I was chatting with him a bit. And he was telling me how he loved how they started, but right now it's all about finishing the game. There's still a little bit of game to go right here. And he was telling me, too, also, how much he just loves his community. I really want to touch on it. You know, if anybody hasn't been around Lincoln, you know anyone at Lincoln, you know the Hive, the bloodlines run really deep. The community here is very strong. He was saying he loves the city. It's only right for him to be here and be with these guys. And he kind of just wants to pass on any knowledge, any advice he can, and be a big brother to these kids out here. And one last thing, this is for you, Paul. He just, you know, of course, he wants to show his appreciation to the PPR, and he wants to tell Uncle Paul that he loves him.
That is nice of him. I remember when going to the opening at Heavy Pockets, and I made sure that I had my place in line because I wanted to be the first one to purchase something, because if that place takes off, I want to say I was customer 1. So
Ricky Osuna with the 21-yard field goal.
You've had some nice drip going there.
I'll tell you what, they had quite the debut party. The barbecue was incredible.
Yes,
on the defense, number 0. Still going to be 4th down.
And offsides by Lincoln. I'm a bit surprised they're coming out with a field goal attempt.
Help me out here. Why are we not going for this?
They're down 3 scores. If they kick a field goal, they're still going to be down 3 scores.
Is this just a face saving? Oh,
well, no. It looked like they were attempting to kick the field goal, but now that the offsides happened, you have to bring on the offense. Worst comes to worst, they don't get it,
and their ball's deep in.
Lincoln has their back against the goal line on offense. Nankill back in the game. Checks back in, along with running back Anthony McMillan. And it looks like we will have a timeout by Lincoln. And thank you, Bree. Thank you, Bert, for your insight on the sidelines. You guys are there on location at the Hive. So we couldn't do it without you here today.
All right.
4th and goal.
Interesting. Nankill behind center. Takes the
He looks to the right, over the middle, touchdown,
Whoa.
Roland George.
Whoa, there you go.
So a much-needed score for the modern-day Catholic Crusaders. And this is just one-on-one on the outside. Lincoln in that
timing route.
Yeah, and Josiah Cox on coverage. Good job by George. You know, when you're in that man-to-man defense near the goal line, you don't want to give up that inside, but Roland George so physical on the outside, using his body well to get position. Cuts the deficit to 17, pending the field goal. Osuna. No good. Which is huge. Well, I mean,
it's an 18-point game. But it's not even really about that right now. I don't know that anyone really thinks Modern Day is going to find their way back into this game. But what it does speak to is their character. They didn't roll over. Yep. They didn't let it get sloppy. They're still playing hard, and I think that's indicative of the coaching staff and the school in general, and to the adults around these athletes. You play until you play until you run through the finish line, regardless of how far behind you are.
Yeah, the biggest impact about that missed extra point, it turns a 2-possession game now into a 3-possession game. Yeah, and Paul, you're pretty spot on. We're seeing the way this game flow is going. And Modern Day is just lucky to be down 17 right now.
Right, because if you look at the number of penalties, I believe it is now 12 penalties and for 122 yards. Lincoln at home being whistled for 12 flags. Yeah. I mean, they have more penalty yardage than just about anybody on Modern Day's offense that isn't named Dominic Nankiel.
Let's go ahead and update you on some stats. Roderick Robinson, 23 carries for 273 yards and 4 touchdowns. KJ Chatham, 9 of 12 for 171. No touchdowns, but
that's a penalty.
Did he throw an interception today?
Jeez, you're asking a guy with no short-term memory. Hey, but I'll tell you what, as you look at Roderick Robinson, because people are going to say, okay, he's got 4 touchdowns. He has how many yards rushing? 270 and change. So you're like how 273 and change, and this is unofficially.
It's double. It's more than double digits. Okay, he averages 14.
So then, how close is he to having a record-breaking night? And we sent back to the brain room. Allison Edmonds is standing by in our statistician center. Quickly came up with the numbers for section records. The all-time rushing record for a single game is 436 yards, set by Ken James Jr. from Mount Carmel back in 2009. The touchdown record is held by E.J. Watson from La Jolla back in '91. He scored 7 rushing touchdowns in a single game. Both those marks seem to be out of Roderick's reach with only 11:51 to play. How many more times are they going to get the ball? Probably both marks are safe, but then this kid has never ceases to amaze. So
all it takes is one run for a score. Yeah. And it's a quick hit. Robinson runs into KJ.
That's how good Roderick Robinson is. He even can break up his own team's offense.
Roderick Robinson before today's game averaged 14 yards per carry tonight, 12 yards per tote. So he's right around his average here today. Makai Gray goes both ways on the offense and defensive end. We have a whistle. It looks like
KJ back in the ball game.
Possibly.
Even Chatham he looks like a solid young man. Yeah. 6'1", 200.
He's thrown the ball well today.
Pretty thick athlete.
In rhythm. KJ has been very impressive today. It's been nice to see him healthy. Robinson up the gut, goes untouched, and he will not be caught. 10-5, touchdown Roderick Robinson.
Okay, that's touchdown number 5.
65 yards, so what is that?
330.
338.
Okay,
and I mean,
he's about 100 yards shy of this. Can you imagine if he breaks it on TV on KUSI?
Oh, we said he just needed one touch.
All right, I mean, that's why we're watching now, to see which CIF section records will fall. as Lincoln has now put the game away.
Right.
But there's still the quest for the rushing and touchdown total single game marks.
Great job by Michael Fields and Charlie Hines. The tandem right there opened that hole along with Logan Moore off the left side of Lincoln. Bert, what are you seeing in the trenches right now? Is it Lincoln just that dominant, or is Modern Day looking a little tired, or a little bit of both?
I think a little bit of both. You know, we saw early on Modern Day was stuffing them up a little bit. That wore off when we talked about the second half. I mean, Paul and I talked last night, and you know, Lincoln's the #1 team in the county. I don't know who anybody's talking to if they think that. The other teams are vying for 2 through 5, but I mean, this is just pretty impressive. And this is a team that hung with Carlsbad to the end and probably should have won on a penalty. It's a team that hung with Cathedral with 200 yards of penalties, and you're seeing them get dismantled by a super team right now.
Yeah. Well said, Bert. Thank you very much for your insight. Lincoln 36, Modern Day 13. And this is Jerry McClure bringing it out for Modern Day. Gets it up to the 30-yard line. Roderick Robinson, 24 carries, 338 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns after a 300 rushing yard performance last week against St. Bonaventure. 600-plus yards in 2 games for the senior running back.
He's flirting with he might get 1,000 4 games into the year.
Yeah, he had 550 and some change. Yeah, he's around 880 right now, so he'll need a little bit more than 100. But
now, folks, that clock, we think there's a malfunction in the Lincoln clock. When we get an actual number, it's been frozen in place, so there's probably less time than 11:23 to play.
Nankill checks back into the game.
Everybody's still with their starters on the field.
Nankill, ball deflected, and Rashad Scott was given a gift.
A lineman's dream.
And it slipped right through his big paws.
He will never live that down.
The 270-pounder, it's not going to come much easier than that, my friend. But nonetheless, Lincoln just, even if they're not getting to the quarterback, they're so smart and just getting their hands up. Rashad Scott, oh man, I would love to be in that locker room while when they're watching film, and you know they're gonna josh with them, as you know, they're gonna give him. But Rashad Scott has done a great job, along with his partner Journey Tala.
Yeah, if we weren't talking about Roderick's superhuman performance,
it would be the defense.
The story of the game is, and not even the front. The secondary is just. Bert was alluding to it. There's just no weakness. Where do you attack?
Right.
I think every team in the county that's watching this game, and I'm sure a lot are thinking, oh boy, how are we going to X and O these guys?
Yeah, and it simplifies the play for the secondary because they know that pass rush is getting to the quarterback so quickly. So, you know, really the only thing that could beat them is a double move. But when you're getting edge rushers like Peavy and Fuel, you have no time for that double move. So really it's that secondary is sitting on that plant foot, and once that foot is planted, they're sitting on that throw. And we saw that from Joshua Carroll earlier today on that RPO. They know that front seven is getting that pressure. And we're going to go ahead and take a break right here. Lincoln up 36-13 on KUSI.
You know, that is just. Some of Dom's most athletic plays has been his ability to avoid the rush and then throw the ball out of bounds. It puts your body in very precarious positions and susceptible to injury, but the athletic ability just to get the ball out of bounds in some of these occasions is nothing short of exceptional, and then to get whistled for intentional grounding, that's salt in the wound, man. All right, let's go down to the sidelines where Bree has a very special guest.
Thank you so much, Paul. Yes, I'm with the man himself, Rod Robinson. Roddy, you have 5 touchdowns. You have about unofficially stats. You have 24 carries for 338 yards. What's the mindset tonight?
You know, it's the biggest game of the season because, you know, it's the next game. You always got to go in with one game at a time, one play at a time mindset. So just knowing that I got my teammates blocking for me all the time, they're so unselfish, and I got great coaches that just set me up for greatness. We came in for this game. We were ready to go, and we just came out here and had to get the job done.
What's some advice that Coach Carter has been giving you throughout this game?
You know, you're going to hit adversity, so it's always the next play. You always have to get past the last play because there's nothing you can do about it. So you just got to stay true to yourself and just do what you're taught to do.
What stands out to you about this squad? What makes this team special?
We're very unselfish, and we play for each other. I think this is a big thing that we were missing from last year's team. We had all the talent in the world, but sometimes we just didn't play for each other. And I think this team, we really have a lot more chemistry coming into this season, and we're all playing for each other instead of ourselves.
I'm going to fast forward to November. What would it mean to you to be able to be on that podium at the gala?
It would mean a lot. You know, ever since I moved here, I'm watching all these great players in San Diego, all their highlights and stuff, and then, you know, when they get on the podium, it's just something only elite players in San Diego can do, and I hope I can be up there.
Amazing. Last question. The community in Lincoln is strong. Talk to me about the support. Oh, we have Coach Carter right here.
Yeah, we're going to call a play. We're going to do a trick play right now. We're doing a trick play right now. We're doing a trick play. Let's go. You can do it.
All right, you heard it. You heard himself. Trick play coming up. Rod, thank you so much. We cannot wait to see you keep balling. I think we got to send you back on the field. We can't keep you out here forever.
Game's not over.
Game's not over. All right, thank you, Rod. Thank you. Thanks, guys. We heard it from himself. Great talking to him. Great guy. Paul, I'm going to send it back to you guys.
All right. Well done, Bree.
Great job, Bree. Thank you. This is Makai Gray on the return.
I think got tackled by his own man, right?
35, brought down by Jerry McClure. Wow, Roderick Robinson is about as humble as he is good. That's a guy I want in my program, in my locker room.
And I you know, if I'm a college coach, I want him too. And that's why I'm sure UCLA, while they're glad to get the verbal commit, are probably worried that some SEC school is going to come along and change that commitment.
And Makai Gray, we haven't talked about him a lot today, but that is another guy that goes both ways, and with the ball in his hands, he could do amazing things. They just haven't really needed to use him that much today.
No.
It just shows once again the depth of this Lincoln team.
All right, I think this might be the play that Coach Carter was. That was the trick play.
Yeah.
And now comes
Robinson with the pass.
I guess we didn't know he was left-handed.
Until now. Coach Carter doesn't disappoint. Wow. Live TV, I don't think I've ever seen that before.
It's like we're at the Pro Bowl or something.
And that pass was intended for Corey Thompson. It does look like number 6, but Corey Thompson was the receiver. Although Chris Fuel has been all over the field as well on the defensive side of the ball. But Roderick Robinson does play baseball. We saw him in a scrimmage where he ran the Wildcat and threw for a touchdown as well. So that's not surprising to see. It'll be interesting to see how Mater Dei internalizes that from the coaching staff. But nonetheless, down 23, Robinson off the left end. Gets to the outside, has blockers in front, gets inside the 20, and will run out of bounds at the 15.
And there's that patience on display. Right now, Mater Dei is just gassed. They're tired of trying to tackle number 2. And look at their...
No push on that defensive line. Robinson just following his blockers, but a great job by the receiving core as well. Blocking downfield, staying with their blocks, not giving up. You know, because if I'm a receiver, I'm like, Roger, you got this. I don't need to help you out any. But, you know, you heard Robinson talk about the family, the teamwork, and when that all comes together, you're up 36-13 over a very good D1 team.
And that's how you get noticed, though. If you're a receiver at the prep level, if you want to get to Saturdays and then eventually get to Sundays, that's the skill that separates the good
Those
from the
small
great.
things,
It's
right.
your ability to turn a 5-yard run into an 8-yard run, or a 12-yard run into a 20-yard run, and it's just getting in somebody's way. And it's not sexy, but it's what makes the ground game cook. And then, in turn, makes the passing game even better.
Right. And, you know, some people will say, oh, you know, Lincoln's running up the score. It's not great sportsmanship. But when you're playing against a D1 program like Mater Dei, the better you beat them, the better your seedings are down the season. This is going to be a game that they're going to look at and say they just dominated, as Robinson off the left end just keeps his feet moving. About a handful of Crusaders it takes to bring him down as he's tackled inside the 10.
Right now, if you're Mater Dei, that clock can't spin fast enough. And don't forget, everybody, the KUSI News at 10 will start immediately after this contest. So if all you news watchers, do not fear. Once the game is over, we will get you right to the KUSI News.
And once again, you can see that plant foot, that 90-degree cut from Robinson. And sometimes when you get that bad, or when you get that big, your footwork gets bad. And Roderick Robinson's footwork is about as good as I've seen at the high school level for someone of that size. And that was a nice collision at the line of scrimmage.
Was Trey Edwards involved in that? Trey's still playing hard on one leg.
Robinson now at 371 rushing yards on 27 carries.
27 carries.
And it's nice to see Trey still in the game. It gives you an idea of his health level.
More than anything, you know what it gives you an idea of? His competitiveness.
Yeah.
I mean, a lesser athlete would say, you know what, I'm not going to get out there until I'm Trey Edwards at 100%.
Right.
But
well, he realizes he's the anchor of that defense.
Yeah. But more than anything, I think he likes to play football. And I think he likes the contact football. And I think he wanted his future college teammate, there's touchdown number 6.
Robinson walks in for another score.
Now, do you call off the dogs, or do you keep them in there if they get? You're going to get the ball back.
I wasn't on your side at the end of the third quarter, but he takes a direct snap. It gets by multiple tackles, and yeah, I would at this point call out the dogs. Bert, what as far as a competitive level?
Yes.
Are we bringing in our second level guys at this point for both sides?
I don't think so. You know, I was just listening to you talk. It's funny because I was just thinking how bad it's going to be for Trey's got to be with Rob for 4 years and listen to this loss the whole time at UCLA. That's going to be hard. That's going to be bad enough. And that happens, trust me.
And Lincoln.
Hey, Bert, Tad, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back to you, partner. Hang on.
And back with you. Lincoln up 43-13. And Bert, go ahead and continue what you were talking about before we went to the break.
Oh, to answer your question, no, I don't think Lincoln's going to put in the backups or call out the dogs. I think both these teams have been talking about this and looking forward to this game for 3 or 4 years, and I don't think anybody's coming out.
And Lincoln's energy is still there with 8:06 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, good defensive stop there. And number 45 getting the love from his teammates. That is Aubrey Moore with the good special teams play, and everybody's saying, Aubrey, that's the way to play football.
.806 remaining in this ball game. It's been all Lincoln with the run game and the defense. Nankill
is out of the contest now, as Mater Dei probably just would like to see, you know, run some time off the clock and get out of here. With as
and
many
they're going to go for it. They got a receiver. That's Jalen Hall inside the 10.
Touchdown.
And will get it for a Mater Dei touchdown. A beautiful ball to Jalen Hall. Let's see this one more time.
Out and up.
Hall had a couple steps. And that is the, you know, when talking depth chart, that's not the starting cornerback from Lincoln.
So Lincoln is playing some of their second-line guys, and Mater Dei made him pay. Just a quick reminder, everybody, that this game is probably going to take us into the KUSI News, but Hunter Sowers, Matt Pritchard will be joining us with the KUSI Evening News, the 10 p.m. news, immediately following this contest. So all you newsbees from KUSI, do not wander off. We'll get to the best weekend news in San Diego in just a bit.
And Cartel Purvis, the sophomore quarterback, gets his first varsity touchdown of his career, and it was a good one.
Live on KUSI, no less.
He meant on the field against the defense. The difference to the half the distance to the goal line. Still first down, one play.
Now, after that reception, Jalen Hall, 3 receptions for 79 yards and a touchdown. DJ Overstreet, 3 receptions, had that touchdown earlier for 71 yards and a touchdown. And Roland George, 3 receptions, 32 yards and a touchdown for Mater Dei. And on the other side, it's been Roderick Robinson, 6 rushing touchdowns on the night, 378 rushing yards on 28 carries. He was averaging 14 yards per carry before this game and is right at his average right now.
So about 20 minutes ago, we were talking about the section records and whether they were in shot. He would need to gain just under 60 more yards for the single game season, for the single game yardage record, and he needs to score 1 more touchdown to tie the single game rushing mark. E.J. Watson has the record for most touchdowns, rushing touchdowns in the game, set back in 1991. E.J. Watson played for La Jolla back then. Ken James Jr. has the Mount Carmel yardage single game mark at 436 yards. That was set back in 2009. I would say with 7:53 and about to get the ball back,
Bree?
Assuming they play, Robert.
Go ahead and tell Coach Carter what Paul just said right now. He can break the record on live TV. And Bert, I'm interested to hear from you as an athlete, and a coach. Do you bring Roderick Robinson in? I know, I'm sure they're not taking this record into consideration. Am I looking too much into that?
On this team, he's doing such a great job. But the thing is, everybody else on the team that wants to work for him as well and work for the team, and he's unselfish. It doesn't have to be about him. Great teammate, great competitor, and the young guys to see his work and how it pays off is remarkable.
Anything else you want to say about this team?
Special team, just want to continue to work hard. Gotta get ready for next week.
Amazing. Thank you so much for everything tonight. Congratulations. Yes, go enjoy with your team. Thank you. Thanks, guys. We heard it from themselves. Such heart. Great game. Great effort by Rod. I'm going to toss it back to you guys.
All right. A big thank you to Breed, Bert, and the entire setup crew. Fred Swift and Vince Douglas for making this happen. Big day here at KUSI from HBCU.
Yeah.
To Brian Burke, thank you for everything you did. And this might be our last one because there's no Saturday games unless we can convince a couple schools. Maybe Cathedral and Lincoln want to play on Saturday.
Let's hope so.
We can televise that. But right now, we want to thank everybody involved, all the hardworking men and women who helped make this production possible. Bo and Brandon, thank you for all your work you did in advance. Let's get it over to the KUSI newscast starting already in progress.